to get around each one of them.
Jimmy Spencer is the hometown favorite, but can he turn his season around?
We've had a lot of bad luck. Maybe it'll change.
And starting from pole is Jimmy Johnson, but can he last 500 miles?
I'm excited. I think the Slows team has a really good shot at winning this race today.
Find out next on Winston Cup Wednesday.
Ready to go for 500 miles at Pocono. You know, for those of us who grew up in the Northeast for many, many years, this was our one and only home Winston Cup track. It's worth the ride. It's a very unique place to see a race. Today's Bud Pole winner, Jimmy Johnson, 5th career Winston Cup pole. First of the year since '79. Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $8 million in the pole award program. Here are the drivers who've won poles so far.
Yeah, and touchy's okay as long as you don't do no feeling.
Away from the track workers as we have a look at the starting grid for today's race. Jimmy Johnson started second, finished third here last year. Ryan Newman is 9th, top 3 start. Bobby Labonte, 3 Pocono wins. Tony Stewart, top 10, 7 of 8 races here. Junior, best Pocono finish, runner-up in 2001. Mark Martin is 26th, top 10 start here. DJ, last year's race winner with 3 wins here. Bill Elliott, who won here last July. Elliott Sadler, his best start here. Kurt Busch, last July's runner-up. That's the top 10. As you have a look back through the rest of the field that include 4-time Pocono winner Rusty Wallace, well back in 27. And Jeremy Mayfield, who has 2 wins here, starting 33rd. Casey Atwood makes his first start of the season, as Chris Myers told you earlier. And Robbie Gordon, who climbed back into the Winston Cup top 10 last week. Going from 37th, did you see the provisional starters? And we'll check with Steve Burns.
Matt Kenseth has led the point standings for 10 consecutive weeks, but crew chief Robbie Reiser said, hey, this is no time to go conservative. I wasn't happy with the way we ran here a year ago, so he's gone a little aggressive on his setup, and he says, besides, it's a long race. If we're not good early, we'll make adjustments. To Dick Berggren.
Arkansas driver Mark Martin starts 6th today. In 32 prior appearances here at Pocono, he has finished in the top 5 16 times, half. He has led 11 of his last 15 starts here, but he has never won. He's got a fast car. Today could be the big day. Matt Yoakum.
Dick, the sleeper in today's field could be 2-time Pocono winner Terry Labonte. I talked to his crew chief Jim Long. They've migrated their setup more toward the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. They feel like they're going to have a pretty fast race car today. He starts 11th. They feel like they keep making small leaps and bounds to get closer and closer to getting Terry back to victory lane. It just may happen today. Mike Joy.
Set to go racing on a very dry-looking track. Derek Cope and Morgan Shepherd were the 2 drivers who failed to make the field. Now, if you look just outside the wall here, where you see those trees growing, the wall originally here at Pocono when the track was built was steel boilerplate, maybe from the shipyards at Philadelphia. But what happens here is right outside that wall, the grade level is not at the bottom of the wall, but it's even with the level of the wall. So that means all of the rain that came down and became groundwater does have a chance to seep out. The track officials last year dealt with this, and today done a great job of getting things dry as possible so we can go racing. There's the difference. First to the final qualifier on time, about 1 second.
200 laps, 500 miles.
One thing I know about those walls, them suckers are hard.
Yes, they are.
I don't know if they're boilerplate or concrete or guardrail. They're hard.
And there you see 34 to 38 laps always can be an issue here at Pocono, because a lot like Dover last week and even Lowe's Motor Speedway the week before, race kind of gets in the middle of the portion. People settle down. We have long green runs.
Well, it's such a big racetrack, Larry, as you well know. I mean, pit strategy when you come in is a huge. I mean, if you know there's a caution coming and you can get on pit road and do your service and get back out before the caution comes out, you just hit a home run.
Because you can make a green flag stop here, because it takes almost a minute to get around here without going a lap down. You see our points leader, Matt Kenseth, right here. He's starting back at the 25th position. These guys worked on race runs on Friday because they had watched the weather forecast. But if you believe in numbers, 50 Pocono races, only 5 winners has come from outside the top 15 starting position. He has his work cut out for him.
Now, the corollary to being able to pit without losing a lap is that if you run out of gas down toward turn 1, you're not coming back.
And your day is going to be about over with.
Right. Yeah, you can't coast all the way back. You'd have to get pushed in by maybe one of your teammates.
That's happened.
That has happened.
In the pre-race, you heard us talking about 3 different straightaways, 3 different corners, and just so you know what we're talking about, this is the front stretch, and that's what we'll call the front stretch. Then we're going to have turn 1, and the straightaway between turn 1 and turn 2, you'll hear us refer to it as the Long Pond straightaway, because Long Pond, Pennsylvania is right outside that straightaway. Turn 2 is the tunnel turn. The reason we call it the tunnel turn, the infield tunnel goes underneath it, and then the short chute is the shortest straightaway between turn 2 and the final turn, turn 3.
And quite honestly, Larry, as you know, we always concentrate on getting off of turn 3. I mean, that's coming to the money. That's coming to the line. You want to get off of that turn if you can to get down this front straightaway.
I think we looked at the whole racetrack. We really didn't look at one place to be better than others. We just tried to get the car to be good all the way around.
This track is as much like a road course as it is an oval. There is that front straightaway. It is longer than any straightaway in Winston Cup racing except perhaps Talladega. And it's wider than any straightaway.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see them 5 wide going down the front straightaway here. But guess what happens when you get to turn 1? You got the funnel down in there, baby, to about 2 wide. And the guy on the outside sometimes is in jeopardy when you're 2 wide.
You know, turn 1 gives a new meaning to the term bottleneck.
Bottleneck.
Now, again, we didn't have no one that had to go to the rear of the field because of a backup car and engine change, but we're going to pay close attention to our pole sitter, Jimmy Johnson, in the 48 Lowe's car. Before qualifying the other day, they broke a valve spring in that engine. They replaced it. Of course, everything went out and run well, but Darrell, you and I have talked about this all weekend. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I have a lot of faith in the Hendrick Motorsports, Randy Dorton, but you always question, why did that valve spring break?
Well, the driver may not be worried, but I bet the engine man is. I bet he laid away. I bet he was glad there was no practice yesterday, because that just kept miles off of that engine. Got a lot of tape on those grills today, Larry. It's cool outside. Should be able to run a lot of tape, make for a lot of speed.
Yes, it will. These long straightaways, it helps the drag, reduces the air restriction down those long straightaways, but it plants that nose in these long sweeping corners. And right here, they're headed into turn 3. I don't know how many times I've told my motor man, don't look like my motor's running very good down the front stretch. He'd say, why don't you go watch your car in turn 3? You're probably not getting back to the throttle very early.
As Chris started the show, a bunch of shifty characters getting set to be turned loose at Pocono. I don't mean the pilots of those A10s. Darrell, Boggity.
Well, this is the mud.
All right.
It's been a little muddy out here this week. I think that's what they're trying to say.
DW, reach up there and pull them belts tight. Second time into turn 1, 200 miles an hour.
Stand on that gas, boys. Boogity, boogity, boogity.
These guys pretty much trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack right now. That will be where the most grip is. That'll be the fastest way around each and every one of these corners.
Pretty much all over the place right now, Larry. It's like a covey of birds going down in there. Got a tippy toe here for a little bit. Everybody's going to give and take, get single file as quick as you can.
Most of these cars, they have not been on this racetrack with other cars around them. All the practice washed out yesterday due to rain.
Kurt Busch, Elliott Sadler, side by side. That's about 8th spot.
Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's car to collect his 5 bonus points for leading the first lap.
He's had 3 Pocono starts. He's led now in 2 of them. One other thing about the all-day rain yesterday, you don't want to slide off into that infield.
Oh, my goodness. No, that'd be a real splish splash right there. Kenseth's back there moving around a little bit, trying to find some way to make a move. When you get side by side here, it's pretty difficult. There goes Rusty down on the inside. Got to be careful right here.
Dale Jr. for 3rd.
Ooh, Junebug's pretty hot, pretty fast across that short chute.
Excuse me, 4th place. Moves past Labonte for 4th.
I say what I was shocked at when we saw telemetry here last year, 190 miles an hour across that short chute, right at it, 180 and a change.
The very low cloud cover today is keeping our onboard camera helicopter that relays the signal quite low. So we'll apologize for a bit of picture breakup. Doing the best we can with the weather we have. Here comes Junior.
He is on the move. There he goes by Bobby Labonte's teammate, Tony Stewart, in the 20 car.
Trouble, Jeff Gordon,
yeah,
turn one.
Way up out of the groove down there and slowing. He's got a bad problem.
He looks like he might have a left front flat, Daryl.
Inside.
Yep.
More coming inside, yeah.
That could be a number of things.
Left front tire, left front tire.
I see no contact.
Nice and smooth with it, Jeff. Gonna have to get it up, guys.
What he's talking about, they're going to have to use something to help get the car up where they can get the jack under it. There you see the Fox track. He's almost down to 100 miles an hour, headed onto the short chute.
If that tire comes apart, it'll rip that whole left front fender right off of that race car. So that's why he's got to go slow and limp that thing back to the pits.
And because of his speed, it's going to be very tough getting to pit road and making this tire stop without going a lap down.
Yeah, it couldn't happen in a worse place. Kind of like you were talking about running out of gas. Happened all the way down here in turn one.
Gordon makes it to pit road.
Remember, get it up, get the jack under first thing, left side.
And the fans all react. They either love it or hate it.
Got to make sure he maintains that 55 miles per hour, Matt Yoakum.
And his team is up on the wall waiting for Jeff Gordon. You can see it's down in the left front. The valence almost rubbing the ground. Tire is almost completely gone. It's down on the inner liner on that left front. The leader almost coming off free. Gordon's down and away.
It's going to be close.
The good thing about where he's pitting, he didn't have to worry about pit road speed leaving his pit box, but he's not going to be up to speed. He will go a lap down, I think.
Jimmy Johnson, his teammate, protege.
He's going to be fine, Larry. He's not going to go a lap down right now. Probably fast enough to stay ahead of Jimmy, and I think Jimmy will probably help him all he can.
I believe you're right. He did. He got up to speed awfully quick.
Well, down there where he is, you know, he can just leave and get going. But if you heard that car stumbling and kind of having a hard time getting out of the pits, that's a product of the kind of transmission ratio we run here. Basically, we run a 3-speed transmission here. When you restart or take off in first gear, it's really like taking off in second gear because your 4th gear is your overdrive gear. So you got a 3-speed, what you got.
There you see he was about 3 miles per hour slow getting into turn 3 versus his teammate Jimmy Johnson, but I believe he will be able to stay on the lead lap. He needs that caution though real quick.
The Matt made a good point. If he was pitted in the middle of pit road and had to run pit road speed coming out as well as going in, he'd be a lap down.
Another one of those big advantages of qualifying well. Doesn't really have anything to do with starting in the rear if you change motors. That doesn't seem to bother people, but pit road selection, pit selection is where it's critical.
Ricky Craven on Casey Mears. Now Rusty Wallace pulls to the inside of the rookie. And we had contact a little bit ago between Mears and another rookie, Greg Biffle.
Boy, Biffle's just coming over. And, man, you know what that is? He's trying to move the 41 out of the way to get into the tunnel turn because it's hard to get in there when you go in real low.
You have to arc it in there.
It really kills your exit speed, which a lot of times a guy will come back under you and pass you right back.
Plus the speed you carry through that corner, Darrell, that'll take your breath.
Yeah, and if you bog down or push or can't get back to the gas there, you're going to get passed right back by the guy you just passed.
Jeff Gordon trying to hang on to the tail end of the lead lap. He made a green flag pit stop for a cut tire and is out just in front of his teammate, race leader Jimmy Johnson.
Gets around right there going down into turn 1. Could be a nut. Oh my goodness.
Just
upside
remember,
down
you're
over.
entering that corner at almost 200 miles per hour.
That had to be quite a ride right there. Got to believe something's happened back here. My goodness, boy, does that not tell you how fast you're going? See how all that fire stayed out of the car?
Schrader is okay.
The pit road.
Again, Kenny Schrader's all right. Most everyone will pit almost Steve Burns.
Mike Dale Jr., they're going to put 1 pound in the right front tire, and they're only going to change right side tires. Dick Berber.
We're only 9 laps in, but Ryan Newman, as long with everybody else, has pitted. Newman is going to take 4 tires as many others scoot on by him. Matt.
And Noah adjustments for Jimmy Johnson. A gas and go only by Bill Elliott. He will leave pit road as the leader of two-tire change for the 48.
The caution, a blessing for Jeff Gordon, who gets the free pass around and stays on the lead lap. And once again, Kenny Schrader climbed out under his own power okay after that violent flip.
It's a good thing this pit road's as big and wide as it is, because everybody on a different agenda. No tires, 2 tires, 4 tires, cars coming and going. Pretty confusing out there right there at that point.
One car stayed out, Larry Foyt. Everyone else pitted.
Yeah, we had 41 cars on pit road, and the reason pretty much everybody pits at lap 9, remember the pit window's around 35 to 38 laps. That's a 4th of the run, but I don't think that's a bad move. Maybe gas and go, or maybe just those 2 tires like we saw a lot of the guys do.
Ryan Newman started in second position, pitted in second position, but came out of that round of pit stops in 14th. Took 4 tires, decided after that had happened that wasn't the right thing to have done, and has told his crew chief, Matt Borland, that this day will be about track position.
Boy, the 2 guys that swapped rides there, Jeff Green in the 1 car, Steve Falk in the 30, they were all the way against the inside guardrail down the front stretch.
And you know, I'm not worried about Bill Elliott's foot. The only thing I'm worried about is if Bill has a problem. If he should get in another accident, that's what I worry about.
All right, Steve Burns is with Ken Schrader.
Just out of the care center. Kenny, that was a scaring looking accident. What happened?
Just got down there and massive brake failure, none, and just hit him and went to the floor. And it's like, well, I ain't gonna hit looking at it. I'm gonna at least back into it. So, and the back end of that car is a lot softer, so it looked a lot worse than it was.
But you're all right?
Yeah, we're fine.
Wait till he sees the tape.
Sterling Marlin in the 40 car, he's in trouble.
Left rear tire's flat.
But you know what? Unlike Jeff Gordon, I believe he might be able to get to pit road.
Yeah, he's waiting.
Yeah, he's able to get there. Very different from Jeff Gordon's situation earlier.
You know, one thing that might be happening here, we run the air pressure really, really low.
Left side.
3,900.
Jeff Gordon had a left front. He's got a left rear. It could just be low air pressure with these high speeds. Pulls the tire right off the wheel.
I think the 29 fender may have cut left rear or something, but it was coming apart fairly quick. And again, you know, we were so close to going a lap down. You know, if it had gone another green flag run, we probably would have ended up going a lap down. So we caught the caution at the right time.
Marlin had really moved up. He gained 7 spots before the caution flag and picked up 5 more on pit road. So he had gained 12 positions prior to having the flat tire. Dick Bertman.
Well, you can't tell much looking at it, Mike. Almost certainly it was cut, but you can see around the edge here how the thing is chewed up. The important thing is that he managed to get back to the pits without shredding these tires. Because when that happens, and it happens a lot here at Pocono because it takes so long to get back to your pits, the tire will shred, come apart, and tear up the sheet metal, and that usually is the end of the day.
Yeah, you tear up a front fender or tear up anything about that body here at these speeds, you're going to be in trouble. Tell you what, Tony Stewart in that 20 car, he is on the move. He just moved into 2nd position.
And Bill Elliott bounced off the wall, we're told. Let's have a look here.
You can see he's starting to get up out of the groove, getting up, and right there, no matter what you do, see how that wall protrudes out right there? There's a little place in the wall right there that kind of sticks out. Buddy, when you get that car pushing, you can get off the gas if you want to, but it's still going to smack it.
You're just carrying so much speed on the exit of all these corners.
You're in a drift. You just drift into it.
The law of physics takes over. And when you hit the wall that hard, the big concern is possibly in the front wheels that you knock the toe out or way in, make the car steer hard, or that you bend the rear end over to the left.
Yeah, or damage of, you know, possibly cut a tire down because you damaged something there on the wheel or whatever, because that's what really hits the hardest is your wheels.
Jeff Gordon coming up from the back. He was alongside Jeff Green there. Kurt Busch has made his way past Bill Elliott. That changes 4th place. Elliott Sadler right behind them. Then Joe Nemechek, Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, and the top 10.
Boy, I tell you, looking at the right side of Bill's car when he goes by, it's got quite a bit of damage on it.
You know, we talked in the beginning, our points leader, Matt Kenseth, started back in 25th position. There you see him right there in the 17 car. He's lurking at the top 10 as he's all the way up to the 13th position. One of the cars that strictly worked on long race setups on Friday before qualifying.
And what helps him the most, Larry?
Pit stops.
And he's had a couple of chances to move up in the pits. Poor guy, he's a great driver, got a great car, and got a good crew. What we talk about is pit stops.
But he always makes up ground on pit road.
Does, and he does a good job on the racetrack, too.
20 laps, 50 miles in the Pocono 500. Jimmy Johnson, the leader, 1 caution flag. Ken Schrader, okay. And I like Schrader's comment. He saw that wall coming and got that car without brakes, turned to back it into the wall. Use the soft end up.
I love Kenny, but I just don't know if he did that. He may have thought he did that himself. Well, but I got to believe that thing just got around going down in that corner.
He walked away, and
he did.
That's the best news.
That's good news.
Just saw Matt Kenseth go by Ryan Newman in the 12 car, so that will move him up to the 12th position. He's getting about a car a lap right now.
And so is Jimmy Spencer, who did not have a particularly good qualifying, but there's Mongo. Spencer has also been picking off about a car a lap.
Spencer runs good here. He could have won this race back in 2000, I think it was.
It's his home racetrack. Steve Burns?
Yeah, Mike, I mentioned at the top of the show how Robbie Reiser said they wanted to stay aggressive with that 17 car. They went a little bit stiffer in the rear as far as their chassis setup, and he thinks that they're going to be able to march towards the front.
We were just a little more aggressive in our shock package and spring package than what we normally had been, and we're just running a little more rebound than what we normally do.
Jeff Burton working on Elliott now for 6th.
There's no question if you get out of what groove there is, it's dirty, and there's probably some debris up there. So I don't know about water, but certainly you don't want to get out of the groove right now.
Nobody but Mother Nature touched the racetrack yesterday. Rain started falling about 6 a.m. and never stopped. So
Bill just got into the corner there. The tunnel turned a little high, and when you do that, you just can't get the car to turn.
Tell you who may have one of the quickest cars on the racetrack, Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. Remember, he started back in 12th position, had that flat tire, so he was all the way back to 43rd, stayed on the lead lap. He's up to the 27th position. Just went by Jeff Green in the 1 car.
I've been noticing him and Jeff Green. They've been running together, so the 1 car is looking pretty good today.
Terry Labonte and Steve Park just ahead of that group, along with Dave Blaney, who's back in his familiar yellow, and Rusty Wallace and Jamie McMurray.
They put that old setup I had in up here in '98. Oh boy, will go around here, I guarantee you.
A lot of drivers during qualifying, well, several drivers in qualifying talked about bottoming out down in turn number 1.
Yeah, well, you're 200 miles an hour hard on the brakes, and the front end just sinks so quickly. Then it's rough. Bump, 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 getting down into turn 1. Causes it to drag whatever's hanging down underneath there, the engine, the transmission, the bell housing. These cars don't have cross members anymore to speak of.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Ryan Newman has keyed his radio and told the crew that his car is really tight. On the other end of that radio conversation, the captain, Roger Penske, who told him, don't go in the tunnel turn as hard as you're going in. Run the low line, go easy going into the tunnel.
I think it helps. I think he's looked at enough races and watched enough drivers that he can a lot of times offer Ryan some advice, and Ryan can adapt to it and maybe learn how to take the track a little bit faster.
You know, and I'm assuming this, but I'm pretty sure he's not shifting gears around this racetrack. They just abuse the engine, basically. They put gear in they think they need. And if I was driving, that's the way I'd like it, because it gives you a chance to not worry about having to shift, just worried about driving.
Johnson now with a 1.1 second lead on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Tony Stewart holding 3rd. 3 Chevys, 4 Fords. A Chevy, a Dodge, and a Ford are in the top 10. We listened in on Jimmy Johnson.
Little 3 off of 1, little 3 off of 3. It just start reading the lap time, so I want to make sure I just keep a pace here and not run away. 4, 10-4, buddy. Those guys are all playing cat and mouse back there and saving some stuff. Exactly what they're doing. doing, so you just be smooth and get a rhythm.
Yeah, well, he better look back, because the 8 car is coming. Junebug is there.
But I'm going to tell you what, Daryl, Chad Canals, Jimmy Johnson, they've only been together now a year and a half, but they are working like they've been together for years.
Yeah, they really have great chemistry.
Now that lap in the short shoot, Junior did not shift. The prior lap he did.
Well, he's shifting down both straightaways, Mike. If you watch, start, finish line, or halfway down, ever how you want to look at it. That's where he'll catch a gear. Right there. That's overdrive. Now he'll run down through here. He gets down to turn 1. He's sucking up to the 48. Down, back up into 3rd. And then he'll come off at turn 1 here and start down the back. He'll do the same thing again. He'll get halfway down the back, pull it into 4th. Then when he gets to the tunnel, back to 3rd.
And the goal is...
Jimmy's going to let him go.
The goal is to reach about 91, 9200 on each of the 3 straightaways. Maximum RPMs, all 3 straightaways.
Not a bad move to let him go right now. I mean, you got to pace yourself here. Got to think big picture. Got to think 500 miles.
As tight as the championship is now, we're just looking to try to lead the most laps in a lap every race, because bonus points really add up at the end of the year, because Matt's going to finish in the top 5 every year, and hopefully we can too. But it's going to come down to a bonus point race at the end of the year, so we just want to try to get as many as we can.
Keeping everybody in sight. Speaking of that 18 cars kind of cruising right now, I'd say.
Just went by Todd Bodine, and that was for the 14th position.
Todd's had a busy weekend, burned up a lot of jet fuel going back and forth to the Busch Series race. Came back up here yesterday after qualifying the Busch car, never got on the track here. Had to go back down and race it. You saw that race on FX last night where he had a good run.
And one of my really favorite drivers won last night. Scott Riggs did a great job, and I tell you, that kid's he's going to be in Winston Cup before very long.
He's a comer. I say Todd had a great run. His race ended sort of early.
Yeah, he lost a point lead last night. He fell back to about 3rd, I think.
Tell you what, Michael Waltrip in that 15 car, he's in the 12th position right now, working on Bill Elliott. That would be for the 11th position. Brand new race car for this group. Michael, 34 starts here. This place has not been very good to him. Only 4 top 10 finishes.
All you got to do is look at Michael last year, and I'm not talking about his car or anything else, just him personally. Look at him last year and look at him this year. He's in the best shape he's ever been. He's physically fit. He's lost about 20 pounds. He is focused. He and Slugger, another good, lot of chemistry there. Doing a great job.
Matt?
Whoa.
His last top 5 finish here at Pocono, actually, Ronald Reagan was still in the White House. Michael may have a problem, though. During that caution, he came on the radio, said he has a tremendous vibration in overdrive. It's reacting from the right rear, Michael says.
No, but that's what overdrive does. When you go to overdrive, you're spinning everything in the gearbox, and it just makes the car vibrate.
The drive shaft speed is much faster, and that's the reason you run the overdrive and you don't just run a lower 3rd gear, is you want 1-to-1, which is making the drive shaft speed normal, where you spend the most time, which is 3rd gear.
Right, and he can always put it in 3rd gear and leave it. You don't have to have overdrive. It just saves the motor. Just have to back off a little earlier. You got to watch the tack.
Bobby Labonte trying to take 12th from Michael.
Michael got messed up when he went under Bill down there. He and Bill kind of slid up the hill, opened the door for Bobby Labonte, and I think Michael's car I think he just got a little out of shape.
Oh, Spencer, I think, scraped the wall coming off that corner. Terry Labonte's right in the mix there. So is Mark Martin on the inside.
Oh, Mongo had to lift that rear leg up there for a second.
Tony the Tiger might have got his tail clipped there, too.
You know, we're seeing so many guys running to near the front, like Mark Martin, and I think we're going to look at the replay here, Jimmy Spencer, where he gets in the wall. There you see Mark Martin in the 6 car underneath him, a lot like Bill Elliott's situation a while ago, just goes up there and kisses that wall.
Well, he didn't really hit the wall, but when he came off of it, he got into Mark Martin. I think that probably did the most damage. You almost hit the wall here every lap. Coming off of turn 1 over there, going across the tunnel, and then when you come out on the front straightaway off of 3, you are right out there flirting with it, baby.
Yeah, but Schrader gets closer to almost than most. Spencer is 15th, Mark Martin 16th.
See, I don't believe Jimmy shifted down the Long Pond straightaway, and one thing that maybe indicated that to me is he shifted late down the front straightaway. He was only in high gear just for a short period of time.
Okay, when we first started shifting here, Larry, you remember we only shifted down the front because we got off of turn 1 over there pretty slow, and we didn't see that many RPM down the back. So we only shifted 1 time a lap. But all of a sudden, everybody said, well, if I shift twice, I can pull a lot more gear, and I'll be faster across the short chute. And that's where all that speed has come from across the short chute, is that real low gear that they pull, but you have to shift on both straightaways.
Yeah, you notice right there, he shifted about 2/3 of the way down the front straightaway. A while ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr. shifted almost to start-finish line.
See if he gets it again here in the short chute.
And every driver has a different style. Now, one guy will shift going in the corner. The other guy will shift in the middle of the corner. Just depends on where you want to let go of that steering wheel at.
He ran 3rd gear all the way down the Long Pond straightaway, and I think because of how late he shifted on the front stretch, that's the reason.
36 laps complete. Jimmy Johnson led the first part of this race. Kenny Schrader flipped in turn 1. He is okay. So after that pit stop, now Dale Earnhardt Jr. is out in front. The Pocono 500 presented by Subway.
We better get
Junior with a 3.9 second lead now on Tony Stewart. You saw Jeff Gordon a moment ago working on Ricky Craven. That would bring Gordon back up to 23rd place after having that tire problem early.
I tell you what, guys, a car that qualified back in the 9th position, Elliott Sadler in that 38 car, when you look at his last 3 races, best finish of 33rd. They brought a brand new race car, and he's sitting there running in the 5th position. Solid in the 5th position. His teammate Dale Jarrett back in 8th position. But trust me, I came here 6 or 7 years with Robert Yates horsepower. There is no substitute for it at this place.
Our car worked good in clean air, but as soon as you got in traffic, we got too tight getting in. But as we was in clean traffic, you know, it was pretty decent.
If running a Pocono and doing all this shifting, if it kind of gets you set up to go to Sonoma.
Oh yeah, it's really good practice. You see that inside guardrail there, and we were showing that Dale Jr. and Steve Park accident from last year. What they did is they went on the back straightaway over there, and they've reinforced that guardrail by piling some dirt up against it now, which you know, in some ways may almost act like a soft wall with that guardrail up against it and that dirt packed up there like that. That's what they chose to do to make that a better situation.
Should give now some, but wouldn't be as solid as a concrete wall.
Right.
Brian Newman, 7th place. He's 14 seconds off the lead, having to battle there with Jeff Burton. That is for 6th place. Newman trying to take it from Burton, and Matt Kenseth right there.
I was just going to say, he's bringing Matt Kenseth, our points leader, right with him. But just remember, Ryan Newman in the 12 car sat on the outside pole. One of the few cars that changed 4 tires, but we're getting real close to everybody getting near that first green flag stop. It should be for 4 tires for pretty much everyone.
And the old brown truck's not running too bad either, boys.
No.
Clear high, clear high.
He's kind of lurking there, hanging in, pacing himself, keep the leaders in sight. That's the driver's job right now.
Dale
Don't
Jarrett,
abuse anything.
just like his teammate, brought a brand new race car here.
It's fun talking to the crew chiefs on those 2 cars the other night. Young guys, so excited about what they're doing. I think we're going to see some improvements there.
Now Tony Stewart kind of holding station here, 4.1 seconds off of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s lead as we approach pit stops. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, and I spoke with Sean Parker, the crew chief on the 88 this morning, and it's exactly what DW said. He said he wanted to get Dale Jarrett excited again about racing, trying to get his confidence back to where it was. And Sean said the most exciting thing was he felt a lot of energy, that he and Dale could discuss what the race car was doing and be open-minded about it. Last night they discussed different scenarios as far as setup. So he said a lot of energy. Even though they broke last week at Dover, they were running 8th when they had a problem.
Michael Waltrip passing Bill Elliott as Tony Stewart comes onto pit road. The first of the leaders to pit under green.
Teammates. Comes the 18 as well.
Matt?
And the wedge adjustment on the last stop for Tony Stewart helped his extremely tight race car. Now he's in his tight in and loose off. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, trying to work more on the tight in. A 4-tire change for Stewart, a 2-tire change on the last stop. As Mike Leonard hits the left and left front, he's down and away. Dick?
Bonnie has moved forward. He's picked up 8 positions since the last round of pit stops. They've just fired 4 at the car, and he's gone.
Now, Larry, we've only had 28 green flag laps since that last caution.
But yeah, that's about 36 laps total, Mike, and that pretty much puts everybody about right on their window. They were in there on lap 9. This is lap 45, so that's 36 laps. And trust me, if you can't break it up in even stops, coming in a little early, you don't want to run out of fuel at this racetrack.
That's what you usually do. You know, the first pit stop or two, you'll be real conservative. Leave a little something on the table if you don't want to run out, like Larry said.
See Roush teammates Kurt Busch in the 97, Jeff Burton in the 99, Dick Berger.
Yeah, Kurt Busch came into this pit stop running in 4th position. He said the car is a little bit on the free side. They're going to do a little bit of work on the fender up front and also drop the track bar about 1/4 of a round. He's got all 4 tires. He's gone. Nice stop.
Johnny Benson's in, so is Greg Biffle, Rusty Wallace, Dave Blaney. On the left of your screen, Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, Jimmy Spencer. Pit road getting to be a busy place.
But you know, one thing I like following up a little bit on the 88 and the 38 is those young crew chiefs with a young crew chief with an older driver. I think that's a good marriage. I think it could work either way, just like Kurt Busch and Jimmy Finney. But I think this young guy pumps up that older driver, takes advantage of that experience.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, Elliott Sadler in the 38 car. Remember, this is the first time these guys are really getting to adjust this car with no practice yesterday.
Uh-oh, Mongo's tail is wagging. They're pushing Jimmy Spencer down pit road.
Yeah,
that car will not restart.
No, they're not even trying to start it. It looks to me like they're headed for the garage.
And service already started on Jimmy Johnson's Chevrolet. He said back on lap 31, he was tight in on turns 1 and 3, loose off turns 1 and 3. Chad suggested putting a little rear brake into it. A slow stop on the left rear, 18.8 seconds. They pulled out of rubber.
Bill Elliott is in, so is Mike Skinner, Ricky Craven, and here's Junior. The race leader comes to pit road behind Ward Burton's exit. Here's Steve.
And Tony, your junior told the crew, nice and smooth, boy. 4 tire stops. They've made an air pressure adjustment prior to his arrival. A little wedge adjustment on the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Phil Dry on the front tires. Jay Garneri on the rear. Good stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Jarrett, meanwhile, comes in. They'll make a 4-tire pit stop. They're going to take a little bit of air pressure out of the, or already did, out of the left side tires of Dale Jarrett. And Jarrett back down pit road.
Steve Park, Mark Martin make their stops and go out. Jeremy Mayfield's in. Terry Labonte, Jeff Green, Tony Raines, Mike Wallace, Sterling Marlin.
I'm going to tell you what, Dale Jarrett, though, in that UPS car, I like the way he got on the pit road. He maximized his speed till he got to that line where he had to be 55 miles per hour. A lot of ground can be made up there.
Ryan Newman, new leader. He was waving that he'd be coming to pit road this time.
And there you see it.
Come off that corner, so you can come off there wide open just like you're going to make a lap, but then there's such a good run into the pit road right here that you can really come in hot.
It's one of the few places where you actually enter pit road running in a straight line.
Good pits here. I like the pits.
Dick Berggren.
Last week's winner, Ryan Newman, having a good day today. Pits out of the lead. The car a little bit loose going into turn 3, a little bit tight going into turn 1. A little bit of a problem up front. They had a little bit of a trouble with the tire up front. Dennis Terry grabs the air wrench now. He's caught, not quite caught up with the back tires. Dennis Terry a little bit slow. He'll not be happy with that stop.
Now the 9 drivers who pitted at the end of that caution period, they've just about all come in, including Jeff Gordon.
Thing I noticed on Gordon's car there when he came to a stop there, he had quite a bit of rear brake in that car because the rear tire actually slid. Normally the front one will, so he's got a lot of rear brake cranked in that baby.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those places where you'll get that little bit of push turning in the corner, so the more rear brake you can put in it, the better off you're going to be, just as long as it don't get it loose under braking.
All right, here comes Matt Kenseth. Let's see what he does. This ought to be lightning fast.
He led a lap, so he got those 5 bonus points for leading the lap. Smart move.
See how he slid that thing in there perfectly, right on the mark.
You're right, Larry. A lot easier passing them when they're all on pit road.
Yeah, and even though Jeff Gordon pitted a little bit late and topped it off with fuel, he couldn't afford to stay out there because you give up so much time. And we're seeing a lot of trouble on the left side with Matt Kenseth, and now they're having to push him away.
I think he was out of fuel.
Or maybe worse.
He's out of fuel. Cut it too close. Leading that lap cost him. That's what it's going to cost him.
Well, that wasn't planned that way. We started out looking to pit a lap earlier than that, and Jack came down and said we could go a lap farther, and we needed to do that to lead a lap. So we took a chance, and it was a real chance because we should have run out of gas, and we ran out on it while we were sitting in the pit stall, so it was a little nerve-wracking.
Kyle Petty in and out, so is Jack Sprague and Kenny Wallace. That should just about complete pit stops. Casey Mears will likely be the last.
Well, see, here's another. He's out of fuel. He's coasting across the short chute over here, I think.
Yeah, he'll be last to pit because he can't.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Matt Kenseth made the same mistake. He stayed out, lead a lap, and it bit him.
After all this is going to hand the lead now back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car, the 8 car. There's the leader.
I'm also hearing that the 25 ran out of fuel. So, you know, one thing they're doing with all this shifting and all these high RPM, they're working the engines a lot harder, and they're not getting the kind of fuel mileage that they normally would get.
Plus, NASCAR is holding the restraints on the fuel cells tighter and tighter, less fuel on them. And remember, no one got a chance to make a long run yesterday and get a good fuel mileage check. They might be basing it off last year's numbers. They're not working.
And an engine tuner is going to be on the conservative side. When he uses more fuel because he can't get the motor tuned up right.
Casey Mears makes it around to his pit, as you saw Robbie Gordon exit, and that should complete this round of pit stops. And too, Darrell, every time you shift, if you're off and on the gas again, you're just pouring gas down that carburetor.
When it comes time to save fuel, if that becomes an issue, you put it in high, you put it in overdrive, and you leave it there.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. back out front at 125 miles in Pocono.
Uh-oh. That.
I'm going to tell you what, he hit that wall a ton.
Yeah.
You see all this fire. Remember, he just had made the pit stop like you talked about, Darrell. That's 22 gallons of fuel burning right
and
there.
And that clicking sound or that scraping sound that we heard, that either tells me that the tire pressures were low and hadn't come up yet, or something happened to a tire.
Carrying the Hans device, the head and neck support. DJ is okay, but that car went into the wall hard.
Yeah, he had actually moved up to the 5th position. We talked about how well he got on the pit road, so he had really made some ground up on that green flag stop.
Apparently it cut a tire, or the tread started coming off the right rear, just going down the straightaway before I even got to the point of shifting. It started vibrating and then started hopping then and just turned around. So apparently something happened with the right rear tire. It's unfortunate. Had a really good race car, and it's kind of the way the season's gone.
We had a few cars that stayed out. Elliott Sadler being one of the better cars in the 38 car that stayed out. Probably this would be maybe just right side tires for most of these guys, maybe just fuel only.
Sadler, one reason he stayed out, he had trouble on his pit stop. The NASCAR official made them come back and put a lug back on, so he came out of the pits a bit further back.
And the other thing, under a green, you may not get it all the way full. I mean, it's a time thing you can take off, Matt.
It's going to be just a 2-tire change here on Tony Stewart, a gas only. It looks like on the 48.
I'm going to tell you what, guys, in the top 7 right now, which those 7 cars elected to stay out, 2 of those guys was almost a lap down. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, remember, he had that flat tire right as the race started. He's up to 3rd, and Sterling Marlin in the 40 car had a flat tire after that first restart. He's up to 7th.
It is Sadler, Todd Bodine, who did the double last night. The Busch race flew back for this morning. Jeff Gordon 3rd, Ricky Craven, Matt Kenseth.
You know, I've been watching Jeff Gordon back there in the pack, and a typical Jeff Gordon car, 24 car, didn't look like it was all that good back there in traffic. I think he needs to be out in clean air to really perform well.
And I'm going to tell you what, you just said 2 key words here at this place, clean air. You can have a so-so race car, but if you can stay out like those top 7 did, get out there in that clean air where you don't have to deal with other race cars, I mean, you can go and pull away from the pack.
Well, you heard the 17 guys say that track position was going to be the key. Trust me, it is here probably more than anywhere we go.
It's the key right now for Casey Atwood, making his first Winston Cup start of the year in the Ray Evernham R&D car, research and development car, number 91. And here's Atwood in 6th.
Yeah, I mean, he's always ran well here. Finished 11th here a year ago, driving for Jimmy Smith in the 7 car. And remember, he's going to run about 9 Busch races for Fitz Bradshaw, Kerry Earnhardt's teammate, starting in Kentucky next week. So he's back on both circuits.
Well, he's been on a vacation. He needs to get back out here and get to work and get the cobwebs off. I believe he'll be really good if he can race a little bit.
Came up here and tested. I talked to Sammy Johns, his crew chief. They were very concerned how come he slowed down so much qualifying. And I think Casey knew he had to qualify in the top 36 to be in the show. He just said, I was too conservative on my qualifying lap.
Here's Matt.
And Mike, you heard that this is an R&D car that Casey is driving. One of the head fab guys at Dodge in the R&D Center, Bill Deese, one of his creations, an old original Rainbow Warrior, a little under the weather lately though, but they're hoping that the success they see with this aero package on the 91, you may see it on the 9 next week at Michigan.
That's the thing. We have a lot of big, fast racetracks coming up. We have Michigan in 2 weeks. Then we're back here in 7 weeks. Indianapolis Raceway, or Indianapolis. So a lot of big racetracks coming up.
If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again. At the front of the pack, Elliott Sadler, who did not pit.
We'd only run 5 laps, and so we was looking for track position. At the time, we was like 10th. And so we was looking for track position, so we decided to stay out. It only put us like 4 laps pitting earlier than most people.
This is a good run for Todd Bodine in that 54 car. He sat on the pole here a few races ago, a few years ago. Still hunting his first top 10 finish for 2003. Good run for Todd.
Lost the lead in the Busch points last night, slipped to 3rd as Scott Riggs went to victory lane. And Sterling Marlin, you saw him finish 2nd to Dale Jarrett here last July. Marlin coming back into play here. He's a 7th place car. Excuse me, he was running. Jarrett passed him for the lead. Excuse me.
9 cars.
9 cars. Yeah, Bill Elliott, not Jarrett. Jarrett was June, Elliott July.
They all run together after this many years.
See him going underneath the 30 car. That would be Steve Park. Now, Steve is a lap down back in 38th position. We still have 37 cars on the lead lap.
Only cars in the garage, Schrader, Jarrett, and Spencer. Johnny Benson.
That's a wad.
Back there running with Kyle Petty, Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte. Here's a bunch of contenders.
Yeah. And
they're racing for 21st.
Matter of fact, that's a tight wad.
It's about 10 seconds behind our leader right now, Elliott Sadler.
Well, some of them are.
Oh, Larry Foyt dives into pit road.
At the last second in the 14 car.
Might have a...
That's something going wrong.
Yeah, and he's on pit road here.
And just remember, he's been having a lot of brake problems. There you see him going underneath the hood.
This looks like something more serious. And
Jeff, anytime you go to a road course, clutches and gears are a big factor. And since we've talked about this track as a road course shaped oval, it's not a lot different in that respect from Watkins Glen or Infineon Raceway.
No, Mike, it's not, and we heard earlier about Matt Kenseth possibly having a clutch problem. I can show you right here by pulling back. This is the clutch as far as it's located on the engine, and maybe what's going on is you will look right here. These are the little discs that go between the clutch and actually engage it to make it work. Whenever you get a problem, they start slipping. That means you're not getting any kind of connection between the engine or the transmission, and when that happens, the whole thing stops pulling and you stop going anywhere, and that's what Matt Kenseth is starting to have to worry about. And then probably one of the reasons why Robbie Reiser said, hey, be careful with it, try not to use it unless you have to.
Yeah, the hotter they get, the worse they'll operate.
Yeah, I think it's probably, they got a hydraulic system that works the clutch. And as I was saying earlier, they get a little moisture in that system and they get a soft pedal from the heat. That thing sits right beside the headers down there. Sometimes you can get it so close you'll boil the fluid in the clutch. But it'll come back if you pump it enough.
And it's been about 94% humidity here for the last day and a half.
That can even happen to your brakes.
We struggled with the clutch all weekend long. We changed a bunch of stuff before the race, and we still didn't have it right. And when we ran it out of gas, I think probably through the panic, the clutch got worse than what it really was. It was just a lot more, you know, it was more spongy than what Matt liked it to be. And other than that, it worked okay.
Elliott Sadler, coming up on 70 laps, is our leader in the Pocono 500. Sterling Marlin moves up another notch into the top 5. Past Jeff Gordon. And you're right, Larry Foyt has gone to the garage, Darrell.
And we're within about 6 or 8 laps of a lot of these top cars having to come to pit road. I would anticipate Jeff Gordon going backwards in that car pushing. He's probably going to come to pit road here pretty quick.
And Casey Atwood's coming now.
Uh-oh. That's not a good sound. Skip, skip, skip. Valve spring.
Nope. He's gonna stay out and ride it out.
Yeah, he's going to come in here in a minute, I bet you, whether he wants to or not.
And that's a shame because he had climbed to about 6th place and then drifted back a bit. He's currently, well, he was 10th a second ago. Next time by, he'll be about 15.
And of course, we heard Matt Yoakum talking about experimental aero package on this car. You have to believe also maybe a little experiment going on with the engine to see about durability as far as parts and pieces. But I'm seeing a lot of smoke coming out the right side exhaust right there. His laps are numbered.
We're going to be talking to him pretty soon.
Yeah. Mark Martin moves past Jeff Burton. Jeff Green in the 1.
Jeff Green's doing a good job today, guys. I've been watching that one car. One time there, he was right up at the top 10. After pit stops, he fell back a little bit, but that car looks really good today.
I'm going to tell you what, you talk about working on aero package. This race car, the one car, the Pennzoil car of Jeff Green, they were in the wind tunnel with this car Wednesday night. Hurried back to the shop, made a few changes, and then brought it up here to Pocono.
Well, by golly, I think they helped it. So good for them.
New rear end for Jimmy Spencer. His car.
Mongo gets new tail.
Proctologist visits Mongo. Mongo back in race.
So that means right now we only have 2 cars out of this race at lap 77. Dale Jarrett and Kenny Schrader.
Yeah, it's the 91 cars on pit road.
Casey Atwood brings his wounded Dew car to pit road. Elliott Sadler holding a 1.4 second lead over Todd Bodine. Ricky Craven 3rd, Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to 6th.
Remember that 38 team, Elliott Sadler, they won this race 2 years ago. Different driver, different sponsor, different crew chief, but they won this race with Ricky Rudd at the wheel and Fatback McSwain on the pit box.
Same notebook. Everything else is different, but they got the same notebook. Got some Euro notes in there, probably there.
You think? I will say this place, the setup, it don't seem to change that much for this racetrack. It's one of the few places that don't.
Yeah, not for racing. For qualifying, maybe with something different, but not for racing.
Matt Kenseth on the move, passes Ricky Craven for 3rd place. 78 laps complete, Pocono 500, presented by Subway.
Elliott Sadler in the 38 car, as well as Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. These are scheduled green flag stops. They should be for 4 tires and adjustments and full of fuel.
Matt?
And Elliott Sadler making his way down to his pit crew. actually was going to wait another lap, and then he felt it start to go out of fuel. The light came on. Norman Cochimizo has a 40 cars in as well. He's going to pack that fuel cell full of fuel. Elliott said the car was a little bit loose, but he kind of liked it that way.
Every time that we've been there, we've always been loose off and had to tighten up. This time we had to loosen up for the entry, which got us too loose up off, so we had to do back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, once the cars get strung out like they are now, I mean, that's basically what we get into is more strategy and crew chief talking to the driver, giving him lap times.
Ricky Craven in the Tide car, the 32 car, he was running up into third, fourth position. He's on pit road. This is a scheduled stop for him.
Crew chief start telling the driver, save a little fuel. Don't shift, you know, be careful with the shifting. Don't use up too much brake.
And look who's leading the race. Matt Kenseth.
Man that started back in 25th position. But he should be to pit road here in the next lap or two as well.
87 laps in. We're closing in on halfway. Here in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, 2 fiery crashes produced the only cautions of the day. Kenny Schrader and Dale Jarrett are both okay after pounding the wall in turn 1 and Schrader barrel rolling down the racetrack. So caution stops there. Now green flag stops once again as Dave Blaney comes in.
I saw the 0 car come on pit road. Looked like its right front was flat.
Jack Sprague.
3-time Craftsman Truck Series champ, one of the rookie contenders this year.
Here comes Todd Bodine in the 54 car and Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Again, these are scheduled stops for these guys because they had more laps on their tires and fuels than a lot of the other cars.
That's right. You saw the gas gauge earlier saying they'd be in soon. Here they are. Matt?
Jeff Gordon already in. You can see gas man Jeff Craven making a wedge adjustment. Gordon completing the car, which is way too tight, as Steve Letarte helps index the left rear tire, and he's down the way. 54 car in as well. He's going to pull out.
Joe Nemechek. 4-tire stop on the UAW Delphi Chevy. Steve Park is in, although he's already gone 2 laps down as this round of green flag pit stops gets going.
Of all of our cars that stayed out a while ago, the only one that's still out on the racetrack is our leader right now, Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. And it looks like they have the sign out. He should be to pit road this time.
I think he's waiting for that 30 car to get out there, Larry. He's right in front of him. They just left the pits.
An uncharacteristic slow pit stop for Kenseth last time. Trouble on the left rear. Here we go.
You see he's wide open right there. Here he comes across the short chute.
You talked about it a while ago, Darrell, getting on the pit road on these green flag stops. Let's watch that braking throttle.
Can't quite get back wide open. Here he comes. Hustling, hustling, hustling.
Whoop, speed limit.
Nice and smooth, guys. Bring them in. Right, nice and smooth. Just stealing off the wall a little bit. Half turn down. We're about 3 stones.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, the Budweiser car, he follows them in.
And Jimmy Johnson as well. Steve?
And Matt Kenseth describing his race car is pretty decent, just a little bit loose. They've got the wrench in to make that track bar adjustment. Russ Struck gets the 17 up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also going to make a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. They talked about 2 tires, but they're going to take 4.
Michael Waltrip is in as well.
Yeah, when you end up 35, 36 laps on a set of tires, you don't want to mess with 2 tires unless it's maybe near the very end of the race.
Johnny Benson's in. Here's Matt.
A track bar adjustment already completed. 4 pole sitter Jimmy Johnson, 4 tire change. Left's going on. Service complete.
Tony Raines makes a stop for left side tires only. Johnson and Waltrip away. 4 tire change for Benson. Left sides for Raines. That's him at the left of your screen.
Larry, I think if someone said, what's a good pit road to duplicate, I think I'd have to say Pocono is the prototype for pit roads.
Nice and wide, nice big pit box.
Look at all those lanes you got to choose from coming down through there.
Jeff Burton and Greg Biffle hit pit road, and Kyle Petty at the last instant makes a hard left turn and comes in.
And I tell you what, guys, anybody that runs about another lap or two, up to about lap 92 or 93, this race, we heard Dick Bergman talk about it, has that green flag look. That means they could make it on possibly 2 more pit stops. So there's a lot of people probably starting to think about that right now.
Left side's only for Kyle Petty, and Jeff Burton comes out with 4, as does Greg Biffle.
Usually don't have too many cautions here late, and then we start having engine failures. Boy, Tony Stewart brought that baby off of turn 3.
And he was our leader in the 20 car. And here comes Ryan Newman in the 12, Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. All these scheduled green flag pit stops.
And Kurt Busch in the 97.
But as we get down near the end of the race and the engines start to get, become a little weak or suspect, that's when we might have a caution.
Ryan Newman in his pit area right now complaining that the car is just a little bit loose. They're going to try to adjust it for that. Bobby Labonte also in the pit area. Much of the conversation with Labonte's crew has revolved around the engine. They are trying desperately to make sure that they take good care of that motor. Matty.
A 4-tire change this time for Tony Stewart, a 2-tire change in the previous stop. All they did was adjust the right front air pressure just a tick. He was tight on entry.
Bill Elliott also in for 4 tires.
That's going to hand the lead right now temporarily to Mark Martin in that 6 car. He'll get him 5 bonus points for lead.
We was just doing fuel mileage. We really didn't have, knew that, pretty much had a good idea that we was going to be the last ones left out running, so we was going to get the bonus points, and we surely don't turn them down when we have the opportunity to get them. We wouldn't have done it if it would have put us in a hole or would have put us behind on any of our stops or anything like that. But, it was just based off of a fuel mileage deal and not getting caught.
Mike Skinner is in. Ricky Rudd also in as you watch Rusty Wallace's crew with a big chassis adjustment on the left rear.
Like the job F1 team's doing today, Larry. They're doing a good job today. This is the best I've seen the car run in quite a while.
Yes, it is. I think all this work's paying off. They're finally coming together. And I think right now, all these guys, they could run about 36 laps on fuel. So that means I think all these cars can do this race on 2 more stops should we stay green.
Ricky Rudd had to slow down on his pit entry because Jeff Green was coming out and clearing the pit lane through Rudd's pit box. And now Mark Martin in the Viagra Ford surrenders the lead. It'll go to Terry Labonte as Martin pits in front of Dick Bergman.
And his spotter gave him a whole lot of help getting onto pit road, Mike, making sure he didn't violate the speed limit. This is going to be a 4-tire stop with just a 1-round change in the chassis. Martin looking for his very first ever Pocono win in this, his 33rd start. They're all set with the tires. Get every drop of gas in it. A little bit slow on that pit stop. They got all the gas in it that they could, and they need to do that.
Jamie McMurray in for 4 tires, right behind Martin.
Well, I saw a tire off of McMurray's car take off. I hope they caught it.
They did. It went down into Jeff Burton's pit, but did not roll out onto the racetrack. So Terry Labonte's our new leader. Kellogg's Got Milk Chevy. He could have hit pit road. And that would hand things over to Ward Burton and his teammate Kenny Wallace at the front of the field. Labonte comes in.
41 car.
Steve.
Last week at Dover, this pit crew averaged pit stops under 14 seconds. They adjusted the track bar. It sounds like Terry installed the car, trying to get it refired. As Murray, Tim, and Mike Bucknunner chase tires, it is refired.
Good stop for those guys, Steve. 14-1.
Great stop, and I think he stayed out again to lead that lap, and it ran him out of fuel. He ran out of fuel right there on the jack.
Casey Mears in. A lot of candidates for most improved team of the season. I'd put Terry Labonte's name right up there.
And just remember, Darrell, if you're very, very low on fuel, when you come to pit road and they jack that thing up on the right side, just for a second, the fuel runs away from the pickup till they get fuel in it. That's a lot of times what caused the engine to shut off.
Bill Davis is smiling. His cars run 1-2 right now. Ward Burton, the Cat Dodge, and Kenny Wallace, the Stacker 2 Dodge.
That's a big improvement over Charlotte and Dover because we've seen both those cars with radiator problems of all things. Heat exchanger in the radiator. Both those cars had that gravy looking stuff running down the side of them.
Wallace is in. Kenny Wallace, that is.
Somebody asked me what gravy, what we were talking about. Well, that's the water and the oil get mixed together and it turns out to be white. Kind of like a big bowl of sawmill gravy.
Yeah, the last thing you want to see when you take off that radiator cap is on your street car is that gravy.
Yeah, and 2 weeks in a row, what they have the oil cooler inside the radiator. It's called a heat exchanger. And what happened is the heat exchanger on those 2 cars 2 weeks in a row bursted, and it mixed the oil and the water. What they've done till they can figure out what had happened to those is they went to a regular air to oil cooler, separate from the radiator itself.
Burton should pit this time and give the lead to Kevin Harvick.
4 tires. There's your line right there. Come on, wait to me. Come on, wait to me hard now. On the side.
Kevin Harvick actually is in the Goodrich car, the 29 car, so that's going to hand the lead through this cycle of pit stops back to Elliott Sadler in the 38 car.
Right.
He was leading when it all started.
Harvick does not lead a lap because Sadler out on the racetrack beat Harvick to the start-finish line. Final stops.
Frank Stoddard, Ward Burton's crew chief. He is on the chip himself.
And when it's all over, this round of pit stops, that is, we're coming up on halfway, 250 miles. Elliott Sadler will be leading Matt Kenseth by 3 car lengths.
Looks like a good weekend to have a yellow Ford to me.
So far, 2 laps from halfway in the Pocono 500 presented by Subway.
Sterling Marlin has just heard in his ear from his crew chief, Lee McCall, 1 more position for 5 bonus points, and he did it.
Marlin came in here 11th in Winston Cup points, just 10 points behind Robbie Gordon for the top 10. Second changes hands as well as point leader Matt Kenseth sweeps past Sadler.
Yeah, I think what happened, Sterling got Elliott real loose over in turn 3. He was real late getting back to the throttle. We talked about it earlier. It just kills the straightaway speed. That's the reason Matt Kenseth was able to drive by.
He lost his momentum off of the corner there, and it just Matt had a run on him, and around he went.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned you see the Army car right there, the 01 Mike Wallace, Jerry Nadeau released. Where's the first place he went when he left the hospital?
To the
race shop.
So Sterling Marlin becomes the 12th different leader of this race. 16 lead changes so far to halfway. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike, Jeff Green started in the 35th position all the way up to 11th. They just had a great pit stop. After the stop, Jeff Green said, guys, if we can figure out how to get through turn 1 without sliding the back end, we're going to be hard to handle.
He's looking pretty good. Yeah, if they can just make a few adjustments on that car, make it a little bit better, he's going to be in good shape because he's sitting there running right now in the 11th position.
Yeah, if you only have one problem,
like Mark Martin just did. Wow.
I had to stop. Yeah, if you only have one problem, that's not too bad here, Larry. If you just got to tighten it up a little bit in the back, a little air pressure adjustment or something like that will be fine.
Now, Darrell, right there, when Mark got up behind Robbie Gordon, the nose just jumped out like that. Did the car get loose, or did it lose the downforce pressure on the nose from being so close to Gordon?
It's the front. You lose the front, and you got to cut the wheels because the front end's headed for the wall, and when they dig or when they bite, you get snapped loose. Woo. It's the worst scenario in the world because the front end's gone, you got the wheel turned left, nothing's happening, but when it does, it happens on the back, not on the front.
So now Jeff Green will try to clear Gordon, and here Bobby Labonte along with Jimmy Johnson, our pole sitter, and Jeff Burton.
It's like Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's 48 car right there. While he was out front, he was good. But when he got back in the middle of the pack, we see that so many times with Jeff Gordon right here at this place, he just can't get back to the front. You're back there working cars, and the car don't have all that clean air on it.
Michael Waltrip along with Mike Skinner.
Drag racing.
21st place. Mike Skinner has improved 20 positions since the start of this race. Skinner optimistic. We saw him last night at R.J. Burney's function, one of the Pontiac dealers in the area. Put on a nice time for folks on the lake near here. And Mike, very optimistic about today.
Yeah, I think his qualifying run wasn't indicative of just how good his car was. And here we see Tony Stewart in a 20 car battling underneath Ricky Craven. And that's a battle for the 5th position. But what they did with Mike Skinner in the 4 car for qualifying, right before qualifying, decided to put a gear and transmission package in it to shift twice. And he just didn't have his rhythm to do it. It really was not good for a very good lap.
Earnhardt Jr. is 5.2 seconds off the lead, and Tony Stewart 6.8 seconds back of race leader Sterling Marlin. Steve Park in the AOL Chevy just made a green flag pit stop and continues to run about 3 laps down.
Tell you what, though, as I've been watching our scoring monitor that gives the lap times, Tony Stewart in that 20 car running in 5th right now. He may actually have about the fastest car on the racetrack.
The car behind him ain't too bad either. The blue one and the blue and white one back here.
The Rocket Man?
The Rocket Man.
Ryan Newman.
If I could listen to one car run all day, it'd be that one. That sucker goes by and it sounds like an Indy car.
One of those Penske Dodges, the other driven by Rusty Wallace, and they run 6th and 18th.
Tell you what, a car that was up there running in the top 5 as we started cycling through those pit stops. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, he's all the way back to the 30th position, and he's only about 10 seconds from being lapped by our leader Sterling Marlin. So I think one, he stayed out and maybe lost a lot of ground on those older tires by staying out a long time, but I definitely think that car has not been very good on this run either.
Well, it's a different strategy, Darrell. If you can't run with the leaders, if you can't run as fast, try to outlast them, and maybe after they stop, you'll catch a caution and be in the catbird seat.
See, this joint is a place where you never know how it's going to turn out because fuel is such a big issue. Maybe you don't look too good right now, but maybe when it comes down at the end of the day and them other cats have got to stop and you don't, you're in the catbird seat.
Got the battle of the brothers right there for 14th position. Terry Labonte in the 5 car, Bobby Labonte in the 18 car, and that's a battle for 14th. But you know one thing, back to Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Now he's losing a lot of ground. I don't know if it would pay off, but we pretty much know by when he pitted on about lap 97, he can do this race on 2 more pit stops.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got to have a strategy that works. You got to have a car that will allow you to use the strategy that you're trying to put into play here. I mean, a good strategy is no good if the car won't do it. It's kind of like Funny Side, you know. Funny Side should have won that race yesterday. What do you think?
Well, if he hadn't led the whole first half of it and tried to run away, maybe.
I'm not a jockey, but I'd have got off the rail. Track was too slick down low. Couldn't get any traction.
Only our producer, Neil Goldberg, called the winner.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
he said, I wish I had put my money down on Empire or whatever.
Empire Maker, yeah.
You know, I'm going to tell you, as we watch Sterling Marlin here in the 40-car lead this race, I mean, it's not a total surprise because his last 4 starts here, he's had 3 top 5 finishes.
We felt like we were going to have a good car compared. You know, we went back to our notes from the fall of last year and led the most laps in the fall, and we did a few minor changes from last year to this year, and you know, we felt really strong about our race car, and you know, again, Sterling did a great job driving, and the pit stops are great.
Marlin coming down pit road, 3,900 RPM in second gear as he's counted down. Marlin now stopped looking for his first top 5 finish of the year. Best finish so far has been 6th position. Great runs here last year, 3rd and 4th. Good stop so far, no mistakes. That is most important. Fuel is the last again. Jerry Schweitz wants to back it in.
Marlin and Joe Nemechek are the first 2 drivers to stop under green in this pit sequence. We're just past 300 miles, 305 to be exact.
And yeah, they pitted here on lap 122. We see Greg Biffle in the 16 car coming to pit road. They ran 36 laps that time. If that's all they can run, they needed to be able to go to lap 128 to make it on 1 more stop. So they're going to be about 6 or 7 laps shy of doing it on 1 stop.
You know what they're counting on?
A caution.
That's what I'm counting on. When you tell me I can't make it, I say, well, that's okay. We'll get a caution.
Matt Kenseth becomes the leader. One of his Roush teammates, rookie Greg Biffle, the Busch Series champion, pitting. Kyle Petty completes his stop, heads off pit road. Kyle running 33rd, a lap down. So it's Kenseth, Sadler, Stewart, past Dale Earnhardt Jr. out on the racetrack in this round of pit stops.
And Larry's looking at me like, so how do you know you're going to get a caution? Because I got 2 pairs of gloves, 4 water bottles, and a radio.
And a lot of roll bar padding.
And a bumper.
That's your... Something will get their attention, I know. Boy, Elliott
Sadler.
really zinged it in that time. That was a great. That's getting in there, buddy. Good job.
He fired it onto pit road. So Sadler gives up third, comes onto the pit lane. Very early in this round of scheduled green flag pit stops. Here's Matt.
Elliott Sadler last pitted on lap 86. Earlier in this run, he said the car was extremely loose. Near the end, he said the car had gone to the tight side, making a chassis adjustment as Ray Holm already going to work on that left rear four-tire change for Elliott Sadler.
We had fought tight getting in all weekend long, and when we would get in traffic, it would just make it that much worse. So in clean air, we was good. In traffic, we was a little bit too tight.
Elliott Sadler is right on the mark because he ran 38 laps that time. So if he makes 2 more runs of 38 laps, he'll be on the mark to get to lap 200. So he can't make it on 1 more stop based on that mileage as long as the car don't start pushing and binding up and using more fuel.
All he's got to do is just run an overdrive for a few laps, Larry. You're not going to lose a lot of time when you're running by yourself. That'll get you some extra fuel mileage.
Ricky Craven, 32 car. Jeff Gordon, the 24. Todd Bodine in the 54. A lot of these top 10 cars now making scheduled pit stops.
Hey, we don't talk a lot about Michael's pit crew, but boy, they knock out some pretty nice stops,
Yes, they do.
too.
That's the reason they're leading that McDonald's competition.
Craven on your right, Gordon on your left. 4 Goodyear tires, 22 gallons of 76 racing fuel. Out goes Craven. Has to work his way around Gordon. And there's Jack Sprague as well.
Ward Burton in the 22 car making his 300th career start this weekend. He's on pit road along with Matt Kenseth, our leader, the 17 car. Let's watch his pit stop, guys.
Steve Burns.
Small adjustment for Matt Kenseth, guys. Just a half pound out of the right rear. Big Benji Grubb gets the gas in. Chris Brook and Brian Dunaway are the tire carriers. Russ Strutt, the jackman, comes around the nose of the car. Justin Nottestead will change the front tire. Jeremy West on the rear. Good stop for Kenseth.
Pretty decent stop. They almost had a bad mistake, though. A tire almost rolled across pit road, and a NASCAR official kind of helped them out there just a little bit.
Jimmy Johnson, Bobby Labonte in, and Kenseth had to thread his way out and around to get a clean exit.
40 car made up some time on them on the pit stop. The 17's good today, but they're not as good as I've seen them. Dick.
Bobby Labonte in his pit right now. He is having trouble feeling the race car. They're going to change the wedge just a little bit, slow on the left rear, but that's no big problem. They're trying to get as much fuel in these cars as they can because this could well turn out to be a fuel mileage race. Matt.
And service already complete for pole sitter Jimmy Johnson. Back on lap 119, he kind of tried a few different lines, picked up 2/10, so they made a wedge adjustment to try to help him on entry. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart still trying for his first Pocono victory. He said the car, the forward fight was good, but a little too tight on entry. Adjusting with air pressure as Mike Lingenfeld goes to work on the front. Foster on the back. Gooch Patterson packing the fuel cell full of fuel. 13.6 seconds.
Johnny Benson, Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, all on pit road, along with Jeff Burton and Mike Skinner.
One thing you don't see very often, but I saw in that pit stop, knocking that blade up, that rear spoiler up a little bit, because you do run it down lower here than you normally would at other racetracks.
And we're hearing most of the adjustments made on these cars being to tighten them up. They're a little loose, give them a little rear spoiler. We'll tighten that car up all the way around the racetrack. But you know, you mentioned Sterling Marlin Darrell. One thing he had going for him that Matt Kenseth didn't, he had a clean pit road. He was the only car that was pitting on that particular lap.
Okay, you knock that blade down. These straightaways are so long, the blade being the rear spoiler, you can pick up a lot of straightaway speed. Then you got to kind of hang on to her through the turns. That gets a little aggravating when you got people behind you.
Kenny Wallace, done and gone. Kurt Busch getting his service, and Bill Elliott coming to pit road.
Yeah, pretty much Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin, the 20 and the 4 car, those crews, their pit stops was about the same length of time. But I was watching Tony Stewart, he came to pit road. Mike, you were looking at it. I mean, he had her locked down. He got all you could get getting to pit road.
Matt?
And they're going to make a combo change here on Bill Elliott's Dodge, both a wedge and track bar adjustment. Meanwhile, they also changed the air pressure. Elliott not happy with his race car. A little slow on the left front. 14.6 seconds.
14.6, a little slow, boys.
Never thought I'd hear that.
No, I didn't either.
Hands the lead back to Mark Martin over Terry Labonte, much like the last round of green flag stops.
Once again, as we've been talking now for about 40 or 50 laps, we know all the cars that are coming to pit road now or later can make this race on one more stop.
Ricky Rudd is in.
Second gear, 30.
The tear off coming off the windshield for a clear view. Jamie McMurray also in.
Making sure they get that thing completely full of fuel. Don't want to leave pit road here not being full of fuel. Now Mark Martin, 6 car, our leader, he's on pit road.
Comes Terry Labonte right behind him. And tell you, both those cars, they really look good around the racetrack. Looks like they're handling very well.
Dick Bergman.
Crew Chief Ben Leslie has just told his team over the wall, concentrate on this pit stop. They're going to put a half a round in the left rear corner of the car, try to give him a little bit more bite. 4 tires and fuel, and again, no mistakes. They didn't get that half round in, but he had a nice pit stop. Steve Burns.
Terry Labonte's service just complete. No adjustments to that number 5 Chevrolet. 4 tires and fuel.
Once again, we're hearing all these adjustments being made to tighten these cars up. That half round of bite in the left ear, that would be because the car's a little loose, probably off the corner.
And a lot of times I would tell the guys, if it, here's what I'd like to have. I'd like to have. But if it's going to slow the stop down, don't do it.
Jeremy Mayfield in, 2-time winner here. And the leader cycles around to Sterling Marlin once again. The fastest pit stops in that sequence were Marlin's at 13.6 seconds. And this crew, Tony Stewart's at 13.6.
A lot of motor, as Sterling Marlin does. You got to feed the ponies. He's got an Ernie Elliott engine under the hood, and it shows up real well today. It's helping him get around this racetrack, but it's a thirsty engine. And he has just heard from Tony Glover on the radio that Sterling needs to gain 1 lap on each of the next 2 stops, and he is therefore to save fuel.
We were very short. We were actually trying to stretch 2 laps out, so we needed a lap on each stint. And we were saving fuel each lap. As it turned out, we could have made it.
How you save fuel, Darrell? Roll out the throttle a little early, pick up the throttle a little later. Not a big difference, but then like you talked about earlier, leave it in high gear a little bit longer, you know, or leave it in 3rd gear. Just don't do all the shifting that much.
What you do, Larry, is you come off turn 3 here, you're going to shift normally, say down here at the start-finish line. Get it back into overdrive back there off of turn 3. As soon as you get up off the corner pretty good, pull her back into high gear or overdrive, and then let her idle down into turn 1. Let her freewheel off down in there before you pick up the throttle.
Now
this is one place you can pick up some mileage easy.
Now Marlin's lead of 3.8 seconds is largely a function of the time spent on pit road. Matt Kenseth had a slower stop. Sterling and Tony Stewart had the fastest stops, and the difference right there, 3.8 seconds. In Kenseth's pit, Steve Burns.
With Robbie Reiser. Robbie, how's the car handling, and how are you doing on fuel mileage?
Well, we've been a little loose most of the day, and we've been trying to adjust on it, but we haven't made it much better, I don't believe. He's running pretty comfortable out there. I don't think the 20 is coming, and I don't know if we got enough for him, but we run pretty decent all day, so we'll see what happens here.
How about fuel mileage, Robbie?
I can make it, we can make it on 1 stop. We're in pretty decent shape here.
Now right behind them, Kevin Harvick has just gone a lap down, and Harvick on that somewhat alternate strategy looks like it's not going to pay off because he's fallen off the lead lap.
No, you can't be 55 seconds behind and have your strategy work. And that's what he is now.
Stewart is coming.
I'm going to tell you, somebody else that's coming is Ryan Newman in that 12 car. He's back in 5th position. He's kind of reeling in Elliott Sadler right now in that 38 car up in 4th position. You know, Ryan started on the outside pole. He kind of got back in the field after changing 4 tires on that first stop. It's taken him a while, but he's making his way back to the front. Biggest problem right now, he's about 7 seconds behind our leader, Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, the thing I've liked about Newman lately is the fact that they qualify fast. We know that. Sets on the pole, sets track records. They've had a little problem getting that car good for the race for him. Last few weeks, so they've been qualifying well and racing well, and that's big.
Sure. Biggest midseason turnaround of the whole circuit. Ryan Newman, all those DNFs, and then 5th at Charlotte and the win at Dover.
And it was almost this time last year he did the same very thing.
Matt Yoakum in Tony Stewart's pit.
Tony Stewart trying for his first Pocono victory. Crew Chief Greg Zippinelli talking to Tony on the radio, giving lap times. How do you look on fuel, Zip?
We're okay. We got to make one more stop. We got a 1-lap cushion, so our fuel mileage hasn't been as good as it needed to be, so we've had to stay out a little bit. We're catching up, but we're catching up slowly. So Home Depot, Monte Carlo's been pretty strong all weekend. We're just we elected to pit that time and give up a lot of track position. We're slowly getting it back.
Tony Stewart trying for back-to-back top 5s last week. That top 5 at Dover helped him to climb to 16th in points. He seems to have found some momentum, Mike.
Another team that's coming from a long way back.
Yeah, he's 500 points, over 500 points out of the lead. That is huge. If he makes that up, he's definitely a hero.
But I'm going to tell you, after finishing 4th at Dover, before that, the 3 finishes before that, 41st, 44th, and 40th, they got to be pretty proud. But, you know, all those races, they were running at the front, even leading those races, and had problems.
Yeah, he would have to go absolutely flawless from this point on the rest of the year to get back in the championship hunt, I think. And Kenseth would have to just go to pieces for him to catch up.
Watch Sterling Marlin trying to put Dave Blaney a lap down. A little rub and run.
I don't think he got into him. I think Blaney was just coming off turn 3 there real hard. And there's a Penske engine right there. That sucker goes down that straightaway too. It's giving Sterling pretty hard fit here.
Yeah, he's knocked a bunch of time out of his lap times right now compared to Matt Kenseth in the 17 and Tony Stewart in the 20 back in 2nd and 3rd.
Don't want to go a lap down if you can help it.
So Marlin finally fights his way past Dave Blaney. "56 laps to go. We're past 350 of the 500 miles. We'll run here in Pennsylvania today. And Sterling Marlin, who led only 28 laps in the whole season prior to today, 3 at Rockingham, 2 at Talladega, and 23 on the short track at Martinsville, has now been out front for 35 laps, more than anyone. Dick Bertrand.
And he is hearing from both his team manager, Tony Glover, and his crew chief, Lee McCall, to save fuel on virtually every lap. Here's what they're telling him now. Roll out of the throttle just a little bit early on the turns. And as Sterling has done that, his lap times haven't changed. So if he can get out of the gas a little bit early and have the same lap times, he is going to save fuel. That's the strategy. They only need 2 laps between now and the end of the race to be able to make it on just one more stop, Mike.
26 cars on the lead lap, and one of the most impressive, your Owensboro neighbor, Jeff Green, sitting in 8th place.
Yeah, you know, one thing, just picking up on what they were telling Sterling, Larry, slow down and go faster. A driver has the hardest time understanding that. But backing off the throttle and coasting into the corner sometime will pick up your lap speed.
But he's definitely give up a little ground to Matt Kenseth, and that may be the reason.
At 8th place, Jeff Green, Pennzoil Chevy, hustling down this long front straightaway. Steve Burns in his pit.
The crew chief, Tony Gibson, we heard Jeff say if you get me handling good in turn 1, I'll be hard to handle. Did you get him fixed up?
Well, we're trying. Right now, the Pennzoil Chevrolet is pretty awesome right now. Jeff's doing a great job. You know, the guys in the pits, we've had 14 flats, pit stops all day long. Can't say enough about that. But, we're trying. We want a top 10. We're trying to, our biggest problem today has been hooking the back end up. Been, kind of loose on the throttle up off the corners. We've worked on it. Haven't seemed to fix it totally, but we've made it better. So we're going to keep on plugging. We got one more stop, make it better. I think we can get it.
I'm going to tell you what, for a group that qualified 35th, of course, Jeff Green only has 1 top 15 finish this year. Pretty impressive run there. You see Joe Nemechek, 25 car, making his 300th career Winston Cup start today. He goes behind the wall.
Okay, Larry, from here on out, watch for engine failures. These last 100 miles of this race is really difficult, hard for these engines.
You see Ricky Craven here running in 9th place. Nemechek joins Casey Atwood, Larry Foyt, Dale Jarrett, and Ken Schrader in the garage. Craven, the Darlington winner, in that spectacular finish over Kurt Busch, now running in 9th, just ahead of Terry Labonte. Craven 17 seconds off the lead. Jeff Gordon struggled from a cut tire on lap 3, has made it back to 12th place and no further. He and Jimmy Johnson now they're nose to tail.
We're hearing that it was a gear problem with the 25 car. Two things that you're going to hold your breath on here the last 100 miles is transmission and engine. And certainly the gear is something that's unusual here to go out. But if you wheel hop the car downshifting, sometimes that'll knock a gear out.
Nemechek out of the race. Gordon a cut tire early. Jimmy Johnson, a lot of concern yesterday about his engine. The best of the Hendrick cars today. Terry Labonte in 10th place.
Yeah, they're all right there together. Actually, Terry's 10th and Jimmy and Gordon right there in 12th and 13th. So they're all running about the same.
You know, let's talk about the rear end gear a little bit. Maybe some of the things that possibly could fail you in the rear end gear. And just remember, we hadn't used our animation in a while. This is the rear end gear itself. This is the chunk that's held in by about 10 or 12 bolts. This is the ring gear. You can shuck some teeth off of that. This is the pinion that's turned by the drive shaft. A lot of times you can actually twist that pinion in two. So there's several things that could go wrong there, and you just have to change that whole assembly. It can take a team about 6 or 7 minutes to unbolt one and put a new one in.
Yeah, but if it wheel hops, if you go for a gear and you wheel hop those rear tires, the tires are trying to skip. The tires will skip a little bit, and it'll put a lot of pressure, back pressure on that gear and bust it.
You see all the trail of rear end grease right there? That is from Joe Nemechek's car as he went into the garage area. Yeah, probably that would twist that pinion shaft in two.
Sterling Marlin's lead over Matt Kenseth now 2 seconds. Tony Stewart has closed to within 3.8 seconds of the lead, gaining not quite a tenth a lap.
In fact, if that stream of grease that we saw going into the garage was from the 25 car, then there's probably some grease, some oil fluids out there on that track somewhere.
And we are getting a report that NASCAR, they are looking. They have spotters all around this racetrack, close to the racetrack. They are looking right now.
This caution would not benefit the teams as far as it being their last pit stop.
But it might benefit our leader, Sterling Marlin, right now, because it's questionable. Can he do this on one more stop?
Sterling sniffing a draft off Kenny Wallace or anything else that moves.
That's a good plan. Just save a little fuel, follow a car. As long as it's not holding you up a whole lot, slowing you down a whole lot, take advantage of it.
He was last on pit road at lap 122. He ran 36 laps the next time. If he only runs 36 this time, that takes him to 158. If 36 laps is his window, that's 5 or 6 laps short.
Kenny Wallace
can't do 5 or 6. Might be able to do 1 or 2.
Kenny Wallace trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap in the Pocono 500 presented by Subway. .375 miles complete. We're under caution because Ricky Rudd's car broke. He tried to pull it off the racetrack but did not get to the break in the barrier where you could pull to the infield. So to get him out of harm's way, they've waived the caution.
The engine was still running. It sounded like it's almost like he had a transmission or gear problem.
So Rudd out of the race at 153 laps. As you watch from the Budweiser aerial coverage, you'll see this whole crowd likely head for pit road.
4 tires, adjustments. Pretty much no one could make it here to the end.
Okay, so all that's out the window. You threw all that away, and now what are you figuring?
I'm figuring we better have a good 4-tire stop here, good pit stop, and probably near the end we'll do just a little bit of splash of gas. Should we not have another caution, there you see Sterling Marlin in the 40 car bringing the whole group of lead lap cars. Right now we have 23 cars on the lead lap, and they are all on pit road.
What could be the most important stop of the day right here, Steve Burns.
1 pound of air out of all 4 tires, Mike Joy, for our points leader, Matt Kenseth. Service done on the right side, then come around to the left side to Dick Berggren.
Sterling Marlin has not called for any changes on his race car. Tire changers, Steve Wolf, Mike Atwell in sync with each other around to the left side. Manny.
Dick, Tony Stewart says his car is tight all the way through the corner. They adjust it with air pressure. Stewart is going to beat the 40 car off pit road.
But I'm going to tell you what, give a call to Mark Martin, the 6th team. They came in 6th. They went out 3rd. Great stop for that group.
And he has just quietly, Larry, been maintaining and easing his way right toward the front. And we heard him say a while ago he wasn't saving anything. It's time for him to go.
Fuel mileage, however, will still be a factor because no one can go the distance from here. I know.
No one can go the distance from here.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write it down.
From pit road, Sterling Marlin's crew did a good job. Just that Tony Stewart's crew did a slightly better one, and Stewart takes the lead.
I think pit selection made a big difference in that.
Yeah.
Those cars way back in the pack now, unlike any of our other restarts, a lot of lap cars to deal with. 43 laps to go.
Long way to go and 107 miles to get there.
You know, the other reason I think that Michael stayed out so long is when he came into pit there, he was in there a long time. They were doing something up in the left front. Possibly they were pulling the rubber out of that left front spring, Larry.
Well, all the more reason if you know you're going to have a long stop,
wait till everybody's stopped and come in by yourself. And they give you 5 points for doing that.
Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, the Goodwrench car right there behind Tony Stewart. Now he's a lap down back in 24th. Wonder what Mr. Stewart will do if the caution comes out. Think he'll give Mr. Harvick his lap back?
He likes Kevin.
I think he might, Larry, because I don't think that's one of the cars that can beat Tony Stewart.
Well, and another thing about giving him back on the lead lap, this close to the end, he won't be up there aggravating him anymore.
There's always a reason to, but there's a lot of reasons not to as well. That's called strategy. Some kind of strategy that you want to use.
Terry Labonte, Ricky Craven battle. And Ryan Newman versus Matt Kenseth. Newman slices down to the bottom.
Hello.
Whoa.
Trying to go by Kenny Wallace in the Stacker 2 car, the 23 car. Kenny as well a lap down.
You know how much steam it takes to whoop out behind somebody, pass them, and pull back in front of them down? Even I know these straightaways are long, but most of the time you just kind of creep bound.
Here's that battle again. Jeff Gordon now, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch there with Craven and John Andretti and Robbie Gordon.
That's what I was talking about, man. It gets intense in the crowd back here.
Now that's back from 10th place on back. All lead lap cars, despite all the green flag racing today, and we had 100 straight laps under green. There's still 23 cars on the lead lap.
There you see Jeff Green in that Pennzoil car, the 1 car, going underneath Casey Mears in the 41. Casey's a lap down. Right now, Jeff Green is in the 8th position, still in the top 10.
Look who's right behind him.
Terry Labonte in that 5 car.
Wow. Oh, Tiger.
That team just keeps getting stronger and stronger and more consistent. Good run at Dover last week.
Oh boy, that was close.
Eighth place on back here. Jeff Green in 8th, Labonte 9th, Craven 10th, Gordon 11th. I'm going to tell you what, we talked about Ricky Craven a while ago in that Tide car, the 32 car. A lot like Jeff Green, started back in 32nd position. Another car that quietly finishes consistent every week. 8th at Dover, and he's sitting there 12th in the points. Sent Labonte to the inside, makes the pass on Jeff Green. That's 8th place. For Terry Labonte, his younger brother, Bobby, was expected to be a factor here, but Bobby's back racing at 17th.
Yeah, but he came in and topped up. And I know you said he can't make it, but I wouldn't exactly count that out just yet.
People stay tuned to see us be wrong, as well as see us be right occasionally. Yeah, when I used to be wrong about that, I had to go to the end of the office on Monday to talk to the car owner. Now I just have about 2 million emails that come in. Marlin dips underneath Kevin Harvick, clears the lapped car. There you see the Fox track, the interval of Sterling Marlin in the 40 car up to leader Tony Stewart. Looks like he's continuing to lose a little bit of ground. Quickest car that lap was Ryan Newman, and right behind him, Mark Martin in 3rd. He actually gave Sterling Marlin in the 40 car a little bump down the front stretch that last time through there.
It's not a bad thing to do here. You're going in a straight line, run up here and give that guy a little shot. Picks you both up.
A little bump draft.
A little bump draft in here. I really like the way Mark's car looks, though. The nose is down. It stays down all the way off the corner there, off of the tunnel turn. His car really is sitting nice and flat. See if we can see what he did here. He's coming. Oh, see, he wants to push him by. I can't see who that is on the outside.
Harvick, isn't it?
Get on by him. We got to go.
If you have an opportunity, you know, people sometimes take chances that they wouldn't normally take in years past because it's been so difficult to get around traffic. You know, it's played such a major role. I think it was probably just maybe a miscue or helping him get past the car.
Greg Biffle with a fuel stop.
This is kind of a strange stop right here. All they did look like they put fuel in it. Now, we pretty much know if they filled it up right there, he can go the distance from here. And he should stay on the lead lap. I don't know. That's interesting strategy, though.
Well, that's short pitting, Larry. I mean, if you're on the lead lap and in contention, would you want to do that at this point?
Well, he had a good, clean pit road. He didn't have to contend with anyone, but I don't know about that.
If you're running 23rd, I don't know, Dick. What do you think?
Well, I don't know about that deal, but I can tell you that Tony Glover actually discussed it when he was talking with Shirley Marlin on that last caution flag. They thought if they did that, then if everybody else had to pit under green, why they'd be ahead of all those other cars, and maybe that would work out well. But he said, I don't want to do this if I don't have to. Well, I guess he didn't have to because they didn't do it.
Yeah, the downside of doing that would be if you run a few laps here and a caution comes out. Even though you'd still be on the lead lap, then everybody's going to come get tires, and you're going to be marred back in the field. So that's the only downside.
Clear 38.
Don't come in till you have to. It's been my experience.
The biggest cheerleaders on pit road, Terry Labonte's crew. They were up on the wall cheering him last time by, and wait till they see him come by this time, now that he's gotten past Elliott Sadler for 7th place.
Tell you what, this is a good run for Terry, and I tell you, the last 6 races, he's went from 31st to 17th in points, and here we see the battle between Jeff Green in the 1, Elliott Sadler in the 38, and that is the battle for 8th position.
48's on pit road, guys.
Elliott Sadler's lost 2 positions. There you see Jimmy Johnson, like you said, Darrell, on pit road. We know if he fills it up with fuel here, he can go the distance.
Too close to the wall. Got to be full of fuel to in the left rear.
Now he's saying stay close to the wall, which means fuel only.
No tires.
Matt's there.
All right, buddy, come on in here. Don't lock him up. Nice and easy.
You heard Chad Canal say don't lock them up because they're not going to change the tires. They make a wedge adjustment, pack the fuel cell full of fuel. He's away. He said the car was just way too loose.
And that was an opportunity to get that wedge in there because he definitely cranked some wedge in that left rear to tighten him up.
Yeah, I mean, if he got a problem, well, you know, maybe that's not such a bad strategy, but you got to have a reason other than just coming and get fuel right now to come to pit road.
And he will stay on the lead lap.
There comes his teammate. 24's on pit road now.
And Jeff Gordon's car, frankly, hasn't been that good today either.
Hadn't been very good at all. They're just trying to, they're gambling.
But I'm going to tell you what, we talked about cars working together. Now, there you see Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Greg Biffle in the 16. They're hooked up together. They don't need to race each other. They just need to stay in line as long as one's not holding the other one up.
And there's Michael back in. I don't know, Larry. This strategy doesn't appeal to me.
No, I agree, Darrell. It's very risky.
It doesn't appeal to me.
If your car's bad, why not? But if your car's in contention to win,
the only thing they're thinking is okay, if a caution came out, those other guys would have to come to pit road, possibly, and we wouldn't. And we'd get when they came to pit road, we'd stay out.
But if those guys come to pit road and get tires, that could put you in trouble out there.
Just a lot of ifs. Too many ifs for me.
But it's nice talking about it.
Yeah. Lord, I was born a gambling man. Da-da-da.
30 laps, 75 miles to go at Pocono.
Now we see Ricky Craven in the 32, Elliott Sadler in the 38. They come to pit road. Again, the downside would be if these guys get a caution, and that lets Tony Stewart, Mark, Dale Earnhardt Jr., all those guys come to pit road and get 4 fresh tires with 25 laps to go.
So is it there more pluses than minuses, or more minuses than pluses?
I think it's equal, because right now this race, unless that attrition starts kicking in, Jeff Hammond, we start losing engines and we get a caution, I think it's about half and half.
Larry, Darrell, look at it like this.
Tony's
watch the 38 car there.
Tony's on pit road, buddy.
Okay, he's coming down pit
Yeah.
road. But if you need to make a chassis adjustment and you're losing ground to the leader, you need to come to pit road. Make that adjustment instead of giving up all that distance. Now, for the lead guys, now they've done had their hand forced, so now everybody's back on the same even ground. Matt?
I just think it's monkey do, monkey see, monkey do, Matt.
And Tony Stewart at this juncture, the call as he comes to a stop does not slide the tires. Gas and go. They beat the rear spoiler down just a little bit. 3.4 seconds.
Now, this is perplexing because Stewart was still the fastest car on the racetrack. He wasn't yet in danger of running out of gas.
But I tell you, that was one of the quickest pit stops we've seen. And what I saw him do right there, Matt talked about it, he's not going to be in traffic now if we don't get a caution. They took all that rear spoiler out. Darrell, you talked about it earlier, helped you down on straightaways, faster lap time.
Yeah, when he was in traffic, they're racing people. They beat it up a little bit. Just then they knocked it back down. So that'll help him by himself. Here's Ryan Newman coming to pit road.
And Newman had taken over second spot. Mark Martin is the new leader.
97 coming. Oh, everybody's coming to pit road. I mean,
Kurt Busch is in. Last week's winner, Newman, makes his last stop of the day.
It was one of those deals where you knew you had to make that stop, or at least for, I think we needed like 4 seconds worth of fuel. And the problem there is if you make the stop, you don't go a lap down. So if you pushed it too far and the yellow came out, you just put yourself in the back for the end of the race. So you had to go far enough to where you burned off enough fuel that you could fill it up at that point. But then also you didn't want to get in too early and mess yourself up there. So we were trying to play in the middle of everybody and just kind of wait and not hurt ourselves too bad one way or the other.
This is Tony Stewart in the 20, and look how far back to Sterling Marlin. So should we stay green, that could be the difference in first and second right there.
But if we don't stay green, Tony Stewart's 12th.
Now Mark Martin, the 6 car, he comes to pit road. Matt Kenseth, his teammate, the 17, he's to pit road as well.
Dick Berggren.
Ben Leslie has counted Mark Martin all the way down pit road. He's going to tell Mark when to go, and he just did it. Go, 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 go. Quick pit stop for Mark. Gas only. He had wanted 4 tires, believe it or not, but obviously he didn't get what he wanted.
We thought we needed about 5.9 to 6 gallons. We took on about 5.6 or 5.7. They did a really awesome job. They dumped it in about 2 seconds, and they was really on top of their game actually all day.
If you get 4 tires and you don't get a caution, you're probably going to end up running about 20th or 21st.
Well, you're probably right, but we're gambling now.
New leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jamie McMurray pits. It's Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Green, Terry Labonte. 22 to go. $19 laps to go. Stick around and see how all this plays out. A lot of strategy.
It's not the fastest car, it's who gets there first.
I'm going to tell you what, the only results that may be a little bit different. Once again, we have Tony Stewart, our 20 car, who's the highest running car right now that's been to pit road. But look right there behind him in that 6 car, Mark Martin. He's right there behind Tony Stewart within striking distance.
Now that gap is to the leader, who presently is Jeff Burton. But we doubt seriously if Burton, Todd Bodine, Mayfield, or Ward Burton can go the distance without a fuel stop.
And on the clock, Mark's a good bit faster than Tony Stewart is.
Stewart dealing with traffic. Ward Burton and Jack Sprague. 18 to.
And that battle for Ward Burton, going by Ward Burton, that is for position. That moves Tony into 4th spot.
Well, you know, Larry, the longer you do this, you learn something every day.
Exactly. I would have thought they all would have been to about lap 185 to 190, a little splash of fuel that we don't get a caution and go to the end. But what it's done is definitely spread this field out where there's not a lot of cars clustered together.
Next time me and you and Hammond are racing somewhere, we'll have to remember this.
Think we can do it at IRP with the truck.
We'll try it.
Yeah, next 2.5 mile track you race at. Let's set that up. What is going to get clustered together is Mark Martin and Tony Stewart. If Mark can clear these 2 cars, and he is racing Burton for position, Sprague's a lap down.
Mark appears to be just a tad quicker than Tony.
Yep.
And just once again, we're sitting here with 17 laps to go. Within the next, I'm going to say about the next 7 or 8 laps, should we get a caution, what that means is Jeff Burton, Todd Bodine, Jeremy Mayfield, and Ward Burton would come to pit road and get tires. And I think that would force these other guys to get 4 fresh tires because they've been out there for a long time on those tires. You getting out about lap 192 on, that's a little borderline. Keep me out there in that clean air if I've got enough fuel to go to the end.
You got it.
Still 23 cars on the lead lap. 16 laps to go at Pocono. A little bit of fuel, adjustment in the left rear. And Todd Bodine will become the leader.
Now pretty much Todd Bodine in the 54, Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, and Ward Burton in the 22. That's only 3 cars that have not been to pit road. They all pitted on lap 154 with 46 laps to go. Pretty much known they'll have to come to pit road.
And if I was Todd Bodine, I would run that sucker out of gas, open.
Matt?
Like they just told Todd Bodine, you are now the leader. We can wait to about lap 192 before we will have to hit pit road to top off.
Well, that's 5 laps from now, and it leaves Bodine, Jeremy Mayfield as the cars, and Ward Burton, the cars that had not pitted for fuel.
And right now, even with Todd Bodine not coming to pit road, Tony Stewart is up into the 3rd position. He's only a little over 7 seconds behind Todd, and Tony's made a pit stop.
See Joe Nemechek, who with Ricky Rudd returned to the race.
Very
good laps down.
Very similar lap times, though, Larry. I mean, Todd's not running bad. I mean, those lap times are competitive with anything that's out there right now.
Steve Park and Mike Wallace to pit road to top off. And we listened in on Mark Martin.
Got to get all we can get here. Trying, man. It's getting tight now. 10-4.
But I tell you, his lap times are still very comparable to Tony Stewart in the 20. He's not quicker, but he's just as fast. But right now, he's right at about 1 3/4 seconds behind Tony Stewart, who, when Todd Bodine and Jeremy Mayfield, should they pit, would be back in the lead. You notice I've changed that should they pit.
Now, look what Bodine is doing. Now, Joe Nemechek's many laps down. Todd lets him go to sniff a draft and save fuel. And here's Mayfield, who is getting a tow off of Johnny Benson.
That's the job, the driver doing his job, doing all you can, save all you can, get all you can.
And you know, Darrell, you and I have talked several times through the broadcast about saving fuel, what the driver can do. Roll out a little early, short shift, get into high gear, pick it up a little later. We're hearing that Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car, he will be able to pit road. Won the race here in 1995 with Dale Jarrett in the 28 car. We were 2 laps shy, but I tell you, that's a lot. That's 5 miles right there.
Todd's on pit road. Yeah, I think, like I said, I could give you a couple laps. I can't give you 7 or 8.
Because remember, it's 2.5 miles, so you figure 4.5 miles of the gallon, 2 laps, you've bought a gallon of gas somewhere.
Kenny Wallace in along with the leaders, Todd Bodine and Jeremy Mayfield. Wallace is done.
That will hand the lead back to Tony Stewart, and right now he's going to be about 1.5 seconds ahead of second place Mark Martin in the 6 cars. We have 10 laps to go.
Well, they packed a lot of fuel in that 54 car. They kept him there quite a while. About a whole can, looked like.
So, we're about back where we started.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart.
So what's the big deal?
It's just fun. It's just fun to speculate.
What did I say earlier? Much ado about nothing. About to drive my buddy crazy, though. I mean, look at his head. It's all red. His hair is all messed up. Calculator's smoking.
Fried the battery on that calculator.
I'm just throwing it on the floor. Wadding up paper.
Johnny Benson makes his final stop. Jimmy Spencer goes back to the garage. He's not going to beat the traffic out of here, though. 9 laps to go.
And right now, Tony Stewart, our leader in the 20 car, the Home Depot car, he pretty much has clear sailing in front of him. It's almost the entire distance of the Long Pond straightaway between turn 1 and 2. So he shouldn't have to encounter any lap cars right now, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that car in second place there, right back behind him, is Mark Martin. And Tony looks to me like he's inching away from him.
Robbie Gordon and Kyle Petty top off, and somebody dragged a fuel can down pit road and will be coming back in.
We were riding with him, Robbie Gordon, in the Singler car. There
the first
it is.
8 drivers in this race have never won at Pocono. Terry Labonte's won here twice. He's in 9th. I'll show you what happened. The fuel cans are labeled with the car number, so as if there was any question. 8 laps to go, and Kurt Busch has slowed down.
Got a tire down.
The caution is out.
Debris going everywhere.
Caution is out with 8 laps to go.
Boy,
right front down.
Don't you know that you wish you'd have stayed out one more lap if you were Todd Bodine or a couple of these guys?
Because they said he could run them with lap 192, and it's lap 192 right now.
Boy, Kurt Busch got a lot of damage to the right front.
Now, that's what you talked about earlier when you cut a tire and it comes apart.
I think he may have hit, I think he hit something. Tire didn't do all that damage. It did something.
No, it didn't do the whole right side, did it?
You know, Mike, you mentioned that stat about the drivers that not won here. I look at the top 10 right now in their running order. 7 of those guys have not been to victory lane this year either, including our top 2, Tony Stewart right there in the 20 and Mark Martin in the 6.
Let's see what happened to Kurt Busch.
Here he comes down into, looks like the tunnel turn here.
Yep.
Moves over for his teammate, and Balui.
I'm going to tell you what, you blow a tire right there, you're lucky you don't go into that wall hard.
I'm not so sure, you know, he might not got out too close to the outside wall going down through there and run over something.
We saw something fly to the left, and it may have been a piece of tire, or it may have been something he ran over. Oh boy.
A lot of debris out there.
Okay, well, we hadn't had this debate. You want to come down and get some tires, or
depends on where I'm running.
We're
going to get this race restarted, but with 23 cars on the lead lap, 22 or 23, keep me out there in that clean air, friend.
Okay, buddy.
Clean those tires off and be careful on this restart. Don't spin the tires and don't miss a shift, Jeff Hammond.
Well, as you guys have been speculating all afternoon, who's going to get tires and who's not, and it's going to be real interesting here because you know this as soon as you don't come, you're going to look in that rearview mirror and the guy behind you is going to come in pit road and everybody else is going to come with you and they're going to line up behind you. It's going to be real ugly. I'm Tony Stewart. I'd like to see somebody kind of like make a real quick canvas survey and get somebody to commit so I can come get me some tires.
Well, Rusty's coming in. So is Bobby Labonte. And so is Dale Jr. and Terry Labonte are all coming in.
Here's what I would be doing if I was Tony Stewart. I'd be making everybody think I was coming in.
And whenever we do get this restarted, it'll be the 10-lap down finger restart, which means single file lead lap cars only to the front. You won't have any lap cars to deal with.
Pit signs out for Michael Waltrip as well, and several others up and down pit road. Of course, Matt Kenseth. That indicates there's an intent to pit. It doesn't mean they will.
I just don't believe those first 3 or 4, 5. I don't see how they can come. They got to keep that. I mean, you restart in the front here.
I'd say 8th on back.
8th on back.
What do you think?
Call. That's a good call.
It's a good call. But if you're 8th and you stay out in the 9th and all comes in, well, you go, uh-oh, ruh-roh.
And they all said.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. stayed out. Terry Labonte stayed out. Now here comes Ricky Craven, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte. Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah.
Craven headed in and swerved back out.
But all those cars in front of him came to pit road. He's behind all of them. He says, I'll just stay out.
So the magic number was 12. From 12th on back, everybody's in. Dick.
Well, Bobby Labonte has been having a lot of trouble with his car being too tight. First, they were going to take 2 tires on this stop. Then they changed their minds at the last minute, and this is a 4-tire change. Not much time left. They're going to try to do it with 4 tires. To Matt.
And Jeff Gordon's already service complete on his car. Bill Elliott, a 2-tire change.
And the sigh of relief you just heard, I don't care, nationwide, was Greg Zippindelli, knowing that those 7, 8, 9 cars behind him stayed out on the equal tires that he has. There's Greg right there, Tony Stewart's crew chief.
Yeah, well, he's going to restart in the lead, and we've seen how big that is. He's going to get a huge lead on anybody that's behind him, he and Mark Martin particularly.
It's Stewart, Martin, Kenseth, the point leader, Earnhardt Jr., the point standing runner-up, last week's winner Ryan Newman, Marlin, Green, Ward Burton, Terry Labonte, and Elliott Sadler, the top 10.
This is when, as a driver, Tony Stewart doesn't want to take anything for granted now. You know, don't come down here and say, I just got a few laps to go, I got the best car.
Mark has a knack for pulling a little more out of the car than what you think is there in the last 10-15 laps, especially with opportunity for a win. There was a possibility. Stewart was also awful good, though. He was awful strong all day.
It's a good start. Pretty strung out.
At the closest battle already is Terry Labonte in the 5 car. He moves to the inside of Ward Burton in the 22. That's a battle for 8.
It's going to get him too. Jeff Green had a look at Sterling Marlin, but couldn't do it.
Heard Mark Martin in the 6 car complaining about his car pushing. One thing he could have done during that caution flag is get that right front cool just a little bit. But I'm going to tell you, Tony really stretches. Trouble!
Oh, no. I've seen this act before.
Jeff Green.
All right, the caution is out. This probably will be for the race coming to the line. Jeff Green in the 1 car.
That's a shame. He was running so well.
Yeah, he crossed the line in 7th last time, Darrell.
I think that dirt bank back there and the guardrail change has done its job. That's a lot better than what we saw here last time.
Well, Mark Martin drove it into turn 3 that time.
This is for the win. This will be the final lap at speed, and Tony Stewart leads him to the flag.
Yeah, there's no way we can get this race restarted. That's lap 198.
The red flag window was 4 laps to go. Greg Biffle in trouble coming across the line in the 16 car, somehow in turn 3.
I wonder if Biffle and the 1 car may have made some contact.
Somewhere Biffle got into the back of somebody. And so Tony Stewart will follow the pace car, and Mike Skinner's fine run on the lead lap for Larry McClure. And that one's going to end up in the grass.
Yeah, so it's a shame because Jeff Green, Skinner, those guys were having good days, but that's what happens when you get a late restart like this.
Yeah, Greg Biffle, he was the only rookie left on the lead lap having a good run.
And here's what happened. Terry Labonte with a run.
Pictures tell the story right
Boy,
there.
Terry, what was that all about? I know Terry, wow.
That was a hard hit.
That was a hard lick. And it didn't look to me like Jeff Green was doing anything erratic. You know, it wasn't like he cut him off.
Right in the middle of the straightaway.
Boy, that's so uncharacteristic of Terry, but like you say, the pictures tell it all.
Boy, Jeff Green lucky he didn't slide back up in front of traffic.
I think
Here's a look from turn 2.
They're all the way up on the straightaway, and you can see.
Oh, they both
they
were
kind of
dropping low.
silhouetted each other.
Well, I'm going to tell you, as I watched that 1 car go across that grass, that is a mirror of 11 months ago with Steve parking that car in that same area, hit almost the same place.
With that opening right there, though, that's a hard hit.
Let's show you what happened 1 year ago, just what Larry's talking about.
Yeah, this was at the beginning of the race last year.
Watch how much the guardrail moves now without that dirt behind it.
See Rusty Wallace and the 1 car get together, and then here comes Dale Jr. pushing Park, and the car goes absolutely berserk and turns over and flies apart.
There were 2 issues there as you saw Dale Jr. a year ago go to Steve Park's aid. Darrell, one is you didn't have that dirt backing the guardrail. The other was the spacing of the guardrail posts were kind of far apart. And here's what just happened to Jeff Green. He and Labonte moved down.
In almost the same area of the racetrack.
Gosh, and wouldn't you know it's right where the opening is.
Jeff Green is out of that car. He is okay.
Boy, that had to hurt.
And we need to mention that our field just took the 1 to go along, of course, the white flag with the yellow flag. So they are on the last lap. They're over on the Long Pond Straight right now, right over in that same area.
Mike Skinner has climbed from his car. Also involved, and Greg Biffle continues to go around the racetrack. There's Mike in the yellow Kodak uniform. And Greg Biffle is going to try to complete the final lap, but won't much matter.
So smoked them.
Sure did.
Had a pretty good day. Good pitch strategy, huh, Larry?
He really did. And again, you know, we talked about this in the beginning of the day. No race practice for anyone yesterday. Tony, Greg Zipadelli, that group came up here and tested for 2 days, worked on race setup. Probably, even though I think he would have had a great race car here regardless, but I think that definitely paid off.
Well, yeah, and you know, when you come up here and test for 2 days and work on race setups and then you don't get any practice, you're thinking, boy, what a great weekend.
He's bump drafting the pace car.
Be careful.
And right behind him, what a day for Jack Roush. He gets a 2-3, and his 17 car with Matt Kenseth increases the point lead.
Yep. Well, Ryan Newman hangs in there in 5th place. Good day for him.
3 top 5s in a row for Ryan.
Yes, sir.
The defending Winston Cup champion, Tony Stewart, gets his first win of 2003, winning the Pocono 500.
A long time this year trying to just get the victory lane. We've had really good cars, probably better cars than we've had all year. The motor department's given me better motors. The fab shop's hung better bodies than we've ever had, and you know, everything's coming in place as far as the pieces. We just can't seem to get them all put together at the same time and then finish one off. But you know, we knew it was just a matter of time of just getting some luck. We figured we couldn't have bad luck forever, so it's nice to finally get one done here today. And it was thanks to the crew. I mean, the guys won us this race in the pits on that last pit stop.
Home Depot Monte Carlo has been strong all year. You know, I think it's probably one of our best years as far as our performance. We just haven't been able to capitalize on a lot of things. We came up here and tested last week, put the car just kind of the way it was. We started a little tight and just worked on it all day, and we were there all day.
The 20's been good for a bigger part of the year, really, and yeah, this shows you how hard the sport is. You got to be real good to win, and kept having something happen every week, and I know the guys are thrilled now. I was really proud of the team. They kept fighting today. Everybody pitched in. We had great pit stops. Tony was great. Zippy made great calls, and Lord bless us with a great day.
Tony Stewart's winning percentage remains better than 1 in every 10 of his Winston Cup starts, and it's the first time in 5 years that Chevy's gone to victory lane here.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Just look at that top 5, Matt Kenseth. He's only going to gain 5 more points on Dale Earnhardt Jr. The guys 1 and 2 in the points. They finished 3rd and 4th right with each other in the race.
Yeah, what I know the top 5 is kind of guys we see up there all the time, but that bottom 5, Terry Labonte, Ward Burton up there in 8th place, and Elliott Sadler and Ricky Craven, another great run in the Tide car. Good day for all those guys.
We got back in 21st position early in the race, and we did all that basically on green flag racing and pit road. I mean, it was just, we did it all, you know, on green flag. We passed all those cars, you know, the tough way, and it was because we had a great car.
But there was times I felt like I was catching Mark a little bit, but my car wasn't really great for the first 5 or 10 laps of a run, but it was really consistent and didn't drop off very much. So I was happy with how it ended. We had a restart. We all had enough space for, you know, between each other. I don't think anything was really going to happen to the finish anyway. I think it was going to finish how we restarted it.
I was happy with the top 5. I mean, we didn't have the best car out there. Tony had a good car. Pretty happy, top 5. You know, Matt finished right in front of us, but you know, we keeping him in sight. That's all we can do all year long, try to stay in the points battle, and I'm real proud of my team. We had a good car all weekend.